That thing just say Utini? What the hell is an Utini? It's a martini made with ouzo.
It's TD. It's where the Jawas go to bang. TD.
No, it's supposed to be McClunky now.
Oh my God.
It's a trap.
Hey, you dorks, this is Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you are listening to The Dorkening.
Hi, I'm Brian Johnson, and although you probably accidentally stumbled across it and have no idea why you're watching it, you are in fact watching The Dorkening.
Hello, this is Tom Kenny, voice actor, the voice of the Ice King on Adventure Time, and SpongeBob SquarePants. Meow. Oh, Gary the Snail, too. Hey, guess what you're filling your eye holes and ear holes with? The Dorkening! Oh, I love the Dorkening. Very popular in Ooh. And Bikini Bottom.
Hi, I'm Lou Ferrigno. You're watching The Dorkening. And you know what? You don't like me when I get angry, so don't get me angry. You better keep watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, this is Felissa Rose, and you're watching The Dorkening.
Hey guys, it's Courtney Palm. We're shooting Death House, and you're watching The Dorkening.
This is Anthony Michael Hall, and you're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned. My friend's going to show you what entertainment's all about, baby.
The Dorkening.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Rise and shine, my sinners. When Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. You're watching The Dorkening. Today, we're going to have an awesome show for you. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff tonight. The new Moon Knight episode dropped, blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. We'll probably talk about the slap heard around the world and, definitely toys. We're going to be talking about the toys we grew up with tonight as well.
Not the Robin Williams movie, okay?
Well, we can talk about that, too.
No, let's not.
Brandon, how's it going, bud?
It's going. It's another fantastic and fun-filled Wednesday here. I hope everybody else is doing well.
Doing well. RW.
What's up? How you doing? Welcome to Toys That We Grew Up With.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. Yo, do you have toys to show?
Not at the moment. I can grab it. I feel so unprepared.
And John.
Greetings, salutations.
Oh no way, that looks awesome. That's a book, right?
Yep, I got this in July of 1991 at the was it Walden Books, Burlington Square Mall.
Walden Books, yeah.
What's a Walden Books? No, I'm just kidding.
J-Bo!
I went into a bookstore once with John, and they had a little sign on all the shelves that said Alpha by author, which means they're all in alphabetical order by author. So I walk up to the attendant. I'm like, dude, I'm having a hard time finding this book. You're advertising it on every shelf. It's a book called Alpha by author. Can you help me find this? And they're like, what? And I go, yeah, see right here. It says Alpha by author. It seems like it's a wicked popular book since you have it on every shelf. And they're like, no, that means that all the books are on the shelf alphabetically by author. And I go, oh, okay.
Like, oh, no. That's just a clever ruse we came up with to figure out who might be either an asshole or an absolute moron. So which one are you? I can see, why not both?
Exactly.
J-Bo says, sorry for busy prepping for Wicked Comic-Con this weekend. Where's Wicked Comic-Con? And if you're going to Wicked Comic-Con, you got to stop by and see J-Bo. He always has an awesome booth with some incredible toys. And I sent you a link if you wanted to join us, J-Bo, but I know you're crazy busy, but I can't speak tonight. I'm sorry.
That's all, folks.
Okay. Has everybody watched Moon Knight or no?
No.
Yes.
I'm not.
I did.
I have not had time to
Werewolf by Night.
Wait, what was that, John?
I said I haven't had anything to do with Moon Knight since Werewolf by Night.
Really?
Funny enough, there's a very sneaky Werewolf by Night Easter egg in the very first episode.
Is there really? I'll have to watch that.
No, you won't. No. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the only reason I know it at all is because of the interwebs, okay? There's a QR code that the character goes by during a very climactic scene, and it turns out if you are able to scan the QR code, I believe it brings you to the cover or a full issue of Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, I think it's a full issue. They added episode 2. They also snuck in a QR code.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I didn't scan it in, but I'm sure it goes.
I honestly didn't have time to pour over every single thing I saw because I literally I watched it just before I came onto the show.
There was one thing I noticed for the first episode, and we talked about it on Tuesday, but if you're keen-eyed, all 3 of actually all 4 of the personalities actually get shown in issue 1 or episode 1. The cabbie, if you have a close eye, the cabbie makes an appearance.
I don't know who the cabbie is. I don't know what you mean.
So Moon Knight has 3 identities. He has Mark Spector, which is the mercenary. Steven, which is actually supposed to be some millionaire, and I forgot the cabbie's name, but the cabbie is sort of like his guy on the street, his the guy that can mingle with the normal person. And if you're watching the mirror in one scene, the voice changes to something else, and you can see the hat like you have, which is what the cabbie wears.
The hat that you have.
Yeah.
A scally cap.
Scally cap. Scally cap. Jabo says they give you a digital copy of Werewolf by Night. That's awesome. And I still 2 episodes behind.
Well, that's pretty good. There's only 2 episodes. So
I'm 2 episodes behind. Wow, Leo.
It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
If that ever happens, just pull a Robin Williams and say, "Hold on, rented lips."
Rented lips.
Reset.
So Moon Knight, definitely everybody should check it out. Is incredible. Well, that's what I think. But what do you think, Brandon?
I mean, I do think it's very interesting. I like how and this isn't a spoiler, honestly, because the character of Moon Knight, like we all know, he suffers from dissociative identity disorder. I really like how they show when the bouts of DID come on in the first episode, how he's just like as Steven doing his thing, and then all of a sudden everything around him in the camp, like the shot itself, like kind of like blinks out and kind of starts rattling, and then the next thing he knows, like he's like passed out in a field with his jaw dislocated, and he's like, where the fuck am I? You know, it was incredible. And that they stayed consistent with it. I really like that, instead of it's because otherwise it would have been too similar to something like The Bourne Identity. And by having him actually like lose sight and memory of what was happening when all the other stuff Mark was doing was going down, like that certainly makes us as the audience like a little bit more intrigued, and we want to see what the answer to that question is. So yeah, well done so far. Let's see what the other 4 episodes bring.
Yeah, we're only getting 6 episodes. Which
I mean, you say only, right?
Well,
Oh man, we're only getting 6 episodes of Moon Knight. Hey, remember in like 2010 when you never fucking thought that Moon Knight was ever going to be a character in the MCU? Talk about taking shit for granted. You're getting a 6-hour Moon Knight series.
Yeah.
All right. No one ever saw that coming. So instead of stating it like, oh, we only get 6 episodes, it should be like, wow, we get 6 episodes. And then
I always want more.
He'll exist in the MCU, but more doesn't mean better, Leo. Like more,
that's true, because
more means more. More doesn't mean more better.
I mean, if you look at the CW, more doesn't mean better.
Yeah, although I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're still doing like the 22, 23 episode season for a lot of their stuff. But I mean, something like Stargirl and Superman and Lois, they have very wisely adopted the truncated season. They're doing at most 16 episodes, and it really eliminates the need for filler. I mean, you get right to the crux of the story, and nothing feels unimportant or like wasted time, you know? So I think
I got a silly piece of TV history to add to that with the whole episodic thing. As a fan of Have Gun Will Travel, the first season started in September of 1957. Went all the way through without, I don't believe it had a break. It went straight through until June of 58.
That's insane.
Talk about a schedule.
Wow.
That must have been at least 38, I want to say 36 to 40 episodes. You have to fact check me as to how many episodes are on the first season DVD set, but yeah, I was surprised at that. I was like, and nowadays, if we get 6 episodes, we're lucky of any series. But back then it was straight through September to June. And
I'm looking forward to episode 4 of Moon Knight when they do the fucking Mandalorian crossover, because it's the only thing that can save the show.
No. Boba Fett sucks. That's the difference. Boba Fett is a boring ass character.
But the show, it was a good, Mandalorian.
It was a great way to get the Mandalorian in another show.
That's
all it was.
My God.
Well, and we got more Baby Yoda, so nothing wrong.
Well, listen, one of the things I mean, we'll come right back to this. We'll moonerang back to it, okay? But fucking the Book of Boba Fett, I complained about it, and somebody said it. I can't remember who, but I said I am so fucking sick of Tatooine. I don't want to see Tatooine as like a major setting for anything in Star Wars ever again. There's no fucking need to keep going back there. It's ridiculous. It honestly is. Somebody said to me, but it might have been you, Leo. Obi-Wan's going to be on Tatooine.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I think you're going to see him on Tatooine at the very beginning, bringing baby Luke to Owen and Beru. And I think he's going to end the series back on Tatooine because he's going to come to the realization through everything that happens over the course of the limited series that he needs to stay on the same planet and actually keep an eye on that kid. And that's how we end up meeting him again in A New Hope.
Yeah.
I think if they have any large chunk of that take place on Tatooine, they are fools.
So I totally get what you're saying, especially, with Star Wars lore, like you have Luke saying in the Star Wars, like, if there's a sun the furthest away from everything, that's where we are,
Yeah.
So Tatooine's supposed to be this place, like, in the outer rim,
It's a backwater fucking desert planet, which
Yeah.
is an
But
ironic statement in and of itself.
But now we know it has, busing going directly to and from it. And
Also a whole bunch
there's
of
a lot of
guys
buses to
doing their
nowhere.
own little mini version of Dune,
what was that? You
having fights over spice.
So there's a lot of buses to nowhere, though. Just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, not to get way off toys, but like who has played Star Wars Battlefront 2, not the one from like 28 years ago, but the one from like
that's the only one I played.
Like 7 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So like every time I play this game, it's like you're going to this planet, you're going to this planet, you're going to here, you're going to Kessel, you're going to here, you're going to Hoth, you're going to this. But so I don't always agree with Brandon, and Brandon knows that, and Brandon doesn't always agree with me. But you've got fucking 1,200 fucking planets in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why are we concentrating on just one planet?
Well,
I will give you that one, Brandon.
I
There's
mean,
so many
it's
other
right
fucking
th- it's
places
right
we could
there
go.
in
You got to make a backstory behind it.
No, because it's the opening fucking line of every Star Wars movie, every major Star Wars movie, the main saga. Okay, a long time ago in a what?
Galaxy far away.
Galaxy, a motherfucking galaxy, a galaxy made up of planets that we know have sentient life on them. So why the fuck do we keep going to goddamn Tatooine?
Because it's
I don't give a
easier.
fart about what the fucking Hutts are doing.
I actually just answered the question, and the reason is they built a fucking Tatooine set, which probably cost them fucking millions and billions of dollars. So instead of fucking building a fucking Kessel set and whatever, they're like, we got this fucking cool Tatooine set. Let's just keep using
Dubs,
it.
man, believe it or not, no, that's not it at all. Because the set that they used on the Phantom Menace and continue to use is the same exact set that was built in the 70s in Tunisia. And they left it there completely unattended. And they were fucking amazed that it was still there when they went to go shoot Phantom Menace. And so
I got a piece of history about that Tunisia.
They made they got their money's worth out of it. It's not that. They just fucking keep glomming onto it. That's all it is. It's a story crutch.
Go ahead, John.
I had just a small piece of history about the Tunisia set, and Brandon, you probably know this. Do you know the movie that filmed there before Star Wars was the Franco Zeffirelli Jesus of Nazareth miniseries, and that just turned 45 on Sunday night. It's NBC. It premiered on NBC 45 years ago Sunday night, and for many people, that's the definitive adaptation of the life of Christ.
We used to watch that and the Ten Commandments every Easter in my house.
But I'm not saying that Tatooine set from Hope. I'm saying their new Tatooine set that they're using for Mandalorian and Boba Fett and all that stuff. That's what I'm saying, not the one from before.
Yeah, but so much of that is rear projection and stuff anyway. I mean,
some of it is, but then a lot of it isn't. So I think it's probably easier to recycle a set than go out and build another one. I mean, that's what they did, back in
they have Disney money though. That's a cop out.
Actually, well, you're totally right, Yo-Yo. They do have Disney money, and actually, because I'm an idiot and I like to spoil stuff for myself.
God, it's gonna be Reddit again.
Christ,
I've seen tons of pictures of them building entire sets for Obi-Wan.
So there you go. That idea doesn't hold water. Then They're just going to fucking shoot it on Tatooine because they are relying on it as a crutch.
Well, and if you look at Mando, I mean, I think Mando, the reason why it's so interesting is because he keeps on going to all these different planets. Like you had that,
That's
you know,
part of it.
that spider planet. RW, have you watched all of Mando?
I thought so. You were just about to say Spider Planet, and I'm like, what?
The ice planet that he ended up
Oh
on.
yeah, with the
with
that
the
one.
spiders,
Yeah.
because Baby Yoda was a little too hungry. Ooh, eggs, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame the kid. I also like hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah. Jabo says Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is epic. Yes, Mando is in the game. I saw a funny video today. Somebody run around as Greedo, like blowing up everybody in the
Guta Solo. Sorry.
in the canteen. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I was actually going to bring that up, so I'm glad Jabo did. How many people got the Lego Star Wars game?
I'll pick it up after I'm done with Horizon Forbidden West.
I'm really trying to not buy games until I get a PlayStation 5.
I was going to pre-order it.
So no.
I was going to pre-order it, and then I didn't. And then, like, I saw a couple of other people had it, and I'm like, I'm still not getting it. You can go, okay, I'm buying it. But basically, when I got my my Xbox X series from GameStop, you had to buy it as a bundle. You can't just buy the fucking thing. You have to get an extra controller, and you have to get a freaking $100 gift card. I mean, they won't just sell you the thing. So I ended up with a gift card. So I used the gift card to get the Star Wars game and whatever. And so far, you know, it's pretty fun. But most of the Lego games are. But yeah.
They're
2 years. I know. I pre-ordered it 2 years ago, and then somehow lost my $5 pre-order on another game that I pre-ordered because I figured I'll use that since I keep screwing it. But yeah, well worth the wait, I think.
Yeah. I'm dying to play it, but I'm still stuck fighting robotic dinosaurs. Yeah.
What?
Goddamn robotic.
What are you playing fucking Turok on an N64 or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, Horizon Forbidden West. It's you're going to LA now. Actually, it's takes place
God,
in,
if I'm going to LA, I gotta head out.
or is it San Francisco? It's San Francisco. It's the bridge. So you go to
the Golden Gate Bridge,
Las Vegas. Yeah, Las Vegas and the Golden Gate Bridge.
Does it get destroyed somehow?
Las Vegas and the Golden Gate Grid. Now I got Leo disease.
Yeah.
Oh God, is it contagious?
Golden Gate Grid sounds like something from Tron.
Oh my God.
We got a cutoff clue with the Golden Gate Grid. Did you mean grid? No, I said grid.
Are in two separate places, unless you're talking about the replica Golden Gate Bridge that's in Las Vegas. Then you're not in San Francisco.
The spatial, the spatial like areas are definitely thrown off. But yeah, there's definitely Las Vegas in the game.
Gotcha.
And then over some mountains there's you can see the Golden Gate Bridge, which is destroyed. And I'm at the point where
Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, there's parts of it. It's
it's a cliche though. I mean,
it is.
They should have just had it like intact to subvert that.
Yeah.
At least you're not fighting simians at the Golden Gate Bridge, Leo.
Fighting what at the Golden Gate?
At least you're not fighting simians at the Golden Gate Bridge.
Right.
No.
Damn you dirty apes.
Yeah, so Leo, you gotta do your research because we gotta do that special.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so out of Leo, Brandon, and Yo-Yo, if you guys know each other's ages, who is the youngest out of the three of you?
I mean, I don't know how old Yo-Yo is.
See, I was trying not to do that to you guys because I know I'm the oldest.
Well, Yo-Yo, let me ask you a question. What number does your age start with?
3.
I am the second oldest, so Yo-Yo would be the baby.
Okay, so Yo-Yo, we're doing toys, so why don't you kick it off and remember you're growing up as a kid and what was your go-to toy or toys or what thing was the thing that you had to have or played with so much that you wish you still had it, and maybe you still do. I don't know.
Ninja Turtles were definitely like big for me. I remember one birthday I did get the blimp. I was very happy about that, but then I also found out that a family member died that year, so it's kind of like bittersweet, like that time. But I do remember that was an awesome birthday, other than finding out a family member died.
So like the little like action turtles or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. Anything?
Biker Mice
else
from
that
Mars.
What's that?
Biker Mice from Mars.
Wait, hold on. Did you just call the Ninja Turtles fucking action turtles? It sounds like the fucking like the gas
dollar
station
store one, you know?
like the gas station version of Ninja
Did
Turtles.
I say action turtle? Or
You
did
did.
You did.
You did. You said action.
I was just gonna roll past
Oh,
it,
okay,
but-
so action. No, not me, man. Welcome to the fucking Wednesday Dorkening show. Like action turtles, like oh my god, all four of them. Yeah, I got Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. Wait, I don't think that's the right group of heroes. No, they're named after classical philosophers. I'm pretty sure. Wait, are they turtles? No, you know what? They're actually more like tortoises. What? They can't swim.
And they're not
Oh,
really
shit.
ninjas. They're more like
They're not ninjas as much as they are yoga instructors.
Oh God. So yeah, it reminds me
they
of
defeat their enemies with a calm meditational.
It reminds me of those things that people post all the time of like the knockoff action figures. Instead of Rambo, it says Rambo or whatever, and then it's like
Rambo. What the fuck?
Yeah, and then Chewbacca's not even his name. It's like furry ape guy or whatever. Like
Chewbacca.
or they mix the you get the packs and it'll be like Justice League, but then Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah. Anyways, what else you got, Yo-Yo?
He's
reaching for
Ghostbuster.
something.
Yeah, that's
he's
what
got
I'm
an
trying to
action
look for.
turtle.
Something my brother gave me. I used to have like a old one.
Oh, nice.
Was always big with, that's something that like me and my brother share. So I have a lot of like vintage Ghostbuster stuff that my brother like gets me almost every year.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have that. And then I have over there, I have an Ecto 1. I also have a Lego Ecto 1 right here. So
very
Ghostbusters, like that's something like me and my brother share. So that's
if you're still into collecting turtles, I saw that they're re-releasing the Turtle Van. It's available for pre-order right now at a really reasonable price. It's like
only $500.
No, I think it's 45.
100? That's ridiculous.
No, $45.
You have to send me a link because I had to order 2 of those.
Who's got the licensing rights for that, Leo? Now,
well,
Nickelodeon, right?
Nick, Nickelodeon.
Let's see. Yeah, $44.99 Turtle Van.
Send me the link so I can order 2 of those.
Oh, yeah.
I need to find a turtle van, dog. The turtle van.
The turtle van.
Yeah,
I will be president someday. I don't care if I have to crawl up into some large American woman's belly and stick my head out, waving a flag.
It's the turtle van. Oh my God.
I will do it. It will be me. I will do it. That's all I mean. That's all I say.
Anything else, Leo? Yo-Yo, that you can think of that was like the thing? Because I know once
Power Rangers.
I'm saving John and I to last because we'll never stop talking about our stuff. But
there's other people on the show. I can keep going.
You're on the spot.
No, keep going.
I want other people to be able to say
I'm
things.
gonna. I was
How
trying
about
to
be a free flowing conversation?
Okay,
Yeah,
go, Brandon. Throw some stuff out there. What was your stuff growing up? Since we're supposedly talking about toys.
Well, I have a tale as old as time regarding some of the toys that I used to have.
You got 30 seconds.
Oh, do I?
All right, go ahead, Leo. It's your turn.
So yeah, I was given my uncles. My 2 youngest uncles are 10 and 12 years older than me. So they had reached a point where they weren't really interested in keeping all their old toys and stuff. And my brother Chris and I, we are 2 years apart, just like my uncles William and Jason. So we were basically miniaturized versions of them. they gave us. They were kids in the 70s, and they were full-on Star Wars geeks. My grandmother, because they were the youngest of 7 kids, they had a completely different set of parents than the rest of their brothers and sisters at that point. Because my grandmother and grandfather didn't have the energy to fucking deal with kids like that anymore. And also, because they were a little older, it was like, you know, kind of approaching it with the whole like next stop heaven attitude. And they got my uncles William and Jason every single Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi toy and vehicle, you know, like the everything I had, and they gave it to Chris and I. And the only stipulation was that we had to take care of it. I mean, I had the Millennium Falcon, like I put it away in its original box whenever I was done playing with it. It was fucking massive, you know. I had Jabba's palace with the flotilla outside. I had everything, man. I had AT-ATs, you name it, and
I hear
every.
you saying had.
That's because one day I went to school, and my mother had the day off, and I came home from school. I went to Catholic school, so when I got home, I went to take my uniform off and hang up like my pants and put my shirt in the laundry. And when I opened my closet, my cases, because they had them in numerous R2D2, C3PO, Darth Vader cases, like a whole bunch.
Yeah,
yep,
Chewbacca cases
all of
and
them.
stuff,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. Loaded. I mean, numerous cases. I mean, I'm talking like the lightsaber would slide out from the forearm kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
the little pushy thing like right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I started freaking out. Like I was like, where are all my Star Wars toys? And that day had been garbage day. My mother waited until we went to school, and then grabbed every single one of the Star Wars toys and threw them out.
Come on.
And her reasoning was we never played with them. We did play with them. We put them away every single time we were finished immediately. And the thing is, like, for me as a kid, it was not about like, oh my God, this is going to be worth so much money or anything like that. My uncles, we always played with them at my grandmother's house when we were hanging out with my uncles. And that's why they gave them to us. And the agreement was we'd take care of them. And we did everything we were supposed to. And we got punished for it regardless.
Wow.
And yeah, my mother, she was not very nice about those things. And like that, I'm putting that very nicely. She did everything she could to throw stuff of mine away. Mine in particular, all the time as a kid. She did the same thing. She tried to do the same thing with every single one of my comic books about a month later. And that comic books were always like my big thing. So I almost had like a nervous breakdown as like a 9-year-old kid. I mean, I was screaming, like screeching. And my father was like, you know, she threw them out. She put them outside, like right in the trash, and my in the box and everything, just right on top. And my father saw what was happening. He was like, "You go outside and get that boy's books right now. You are not doing that to him." And she never tried to do it ever again with like those types of things after that. But she always did it to me, and that was pretty much it. Because the other toys, I never really got a lot of toys as a kid. My brother Chris did. He got all kinds of Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. I didn't want toys after the Star Wars stuff got thrown out, because I didn't trust that I wouldn't come home someday and they would just be missing because my mom decided I shouldn't have them anymore. I didn't buy toys again until I was in high school. I bought most of the Man of Steel run from Kenner. I actually grabbed them all today from my mom's house. Got a bunch of the stuff that I had there. I have like a big Kryptonian armor.
Oh, nice.
Like the big purple suit. Weirdly enough, they have this thing called the Clark Kent Conversion Coupe, which is like a sports car that Clark Kent would drive, but you can stick a Superman figure in like the back portion of it. And when you pull this thing on it, the Clark Kent figure slides forward in the car, and then Superman slides forward, and then Superman pops up instead, because when you do it, wings pop out from the side of the car, because Superman would definitely need a flying car.
Oh yeah, totally.
But other than that, I mean, I just kind of played with the stuff that my brother was given that was never thrown out on him, and he had. That was because of my Uncle Wayne. My Uncle Wayne was also my brother's godfather, and he spoiled the fuck out of him. He and my Aunt Sharon, and they got him everything. He had the firehouse. He had the Ecto-1 toy. Not the Ecto-1. The Proton Pack toy. He had the traps. He had all the action figures. He had fucking glow-in-the-dark Ghostbuster sheets. I mean, and same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He had the lair. He had the turtle van, the party wagon, whatever you want to call it. I mean, everything. The only other thing that I ever was into as a kid that I did get quite a bit of was Captain Power and Soldiers of the Fortune and the Soldiers of the Future. I had the actual like get up, the helmet, the chest plate, the gun, a bunch of the action figures, and I had the videotape with the plane, the space plane gun that you could use to interact with it.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that was probably like my biggest deal. And also when I was very little, I had like a few He-Man figures. And that right around the same time when I was in high school that the Man of Steel stuff was coming out from Kenner, I bought a Skeletor and Panther set that I actually was one of the ones I was able to snag today, but I'm just gonna have to take it out of the box because finally at this point because the box was absolutely destroyed at my mom's house. It's just like covered in muck. It's so bad. But yeah, like I always wanted like some of the stuff I saw when I was very little. Like my uncles, because they were older than me, they had Optimus Prime that was like straight up die cast metal. Like I remember the weight of it. And my cousin Melissa, who lived in the first floor apartment in the same house that my grandmother owned there, she was a few years older than me, sort of in between me and my uncles, and she was really into Thundercats, and she had like all the Thundercats stuff. And Lion-O, of course, was like my favorite one to play with. But she had the tank and the castle, and it was fucking great, dude. That's why I loved going to my grandmother's. I could just go and play with these awesome things that my cousin and uncles already had, and they were always going to be there. So yeah, pretty much the things I played with were touchstones of the 80s, like for kids my age. He-Man, Ghostbusters, Thundercats, Captain Power. Yeah, that sounds about right. I was just a little too old for Power Rangers when it rolled around. That was when Power Rangers. I enjoyed the first seasons of the show, like up until the point where they did the first movie, because they kind of like jumped the shark with the movie, I think. But for me, initially, I was like, "Oh, isn't this just Voltron?" Like, I don't understand. Like, you guys form a giant robot to fight things. I've seen that cartoon, and I got really into it though. I remember when the Green Ranger showed up, like they made a big. It was on prime time, dude. They put that on Friday night at 8 p.m. and there wasn't a single kid my age who did not watch it that night. All the boys and girls came in on Monday and were like, "Did you see it?" But I never really got into the toys for Power Rangers or anything. Like I was just like, I'd rather just go read my comics. I think I'm good, but. Yeah, I always love that stuff, and I do try to get like pieces here and there for nostalgia reasons, but I unfortunately don't have a whole heck of a lot that I can say like, oh, look at all the stuff I have from when I was younger. Because
my brother actually won the Command Center from Power Rangers from one of the Fox kids contests.
That's awesome.
I remember him receiving that box, like how happy he was.
And how jealous you were. That's amazing. Yep. I get it. Because like it was the same. Like I told you, my brother, he got like all that cool shit, but I didn't. I never did. Not from anybody. I don't know why nobody thought like, oh, Brandon might like Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well.
I lucked out, like, because my brother and me are pretty close. So like we always just shared things.
Oh, don't get me wrong. My brother and I shared this stuff. We had a room and everything. I mean, we shared a room. So
Same here.
And we played together, but it doesn't change. And it's not like he was selfish with it, but there's a difference between like
it's
something
yours and sharing.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I was never given any of that
It's
stuff.
like,
I mean,
here, Jimmy, I got you this.
let me put it this way: when I was 7 years old, for my birthday, I was given a Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh.
And I geeked the fuck out when I pulled the wrapping from that box. Okay, this is my birthday party, my 7th birthday party, and immediately after me losing my shit, like full blown excitement, right there in front of everyone, I was told by my mother and father, "Well, that's actually for the entire family. Why did you give it to me on my fucking birthday? Why would you do that?" That never happened to any of my siblings. They were never given a gift and then told, "Oh, but that's actually for everyone." That's not fair.
No.
That was me, guys. Like that was, and that's part of the reason why I never really got into like having stuff like that, because it was my experience always dictated that it was just going to be taken away from me. So wow.
I still have.
This is why I said I didn't want to fucking talk about toys, Leo.
I still have somewhere my Optimus Prime with the trailer from the 80s or whatever, but
yeah, that thing is fucking heavy. You can murder someone with that.
Yeah. Leo,
Yo, have you seen it? It's fucking metal. Like it would definitely be if you walked in and saw that and like two other things that could be likely murder weapons at a fucking murder scene. You may very well make that the focus of your investigation.
He was killed by Optimus Prime.
Oh no, I remember how like those. I have a die-cast Tonka truck still.
Yes,
like one of the big.
I had a Winnebago.
I've had that forever.
I had a Tonka Winnebago. It was one of my favorite things. And one day, you know, my parents are like, "Okay, you're getting older, and your cousin, you know, he's young and he doesn't have a lot of cool things, and you know, you need to give some of your stuff to him." And I'm like, "But it's my Winnebago." And they're like, "Yeah, but he doesn't have a lot of things, and you don't really play with it anymore." And I'm like, seriously, I don't want to give it away. And they're like, "You're 29 years old. You don't need this." No, just kidding. But seriously, I had to give this Winnebago away. And like Brandon was saying, his cousin said, just take care of this stuff. And everything that I have that I had as a kid, I still have in perfect shape. Anything that I buy online or get from somewhere else, like let's say this thing here, this is the shape I got it in, and I'm going to make sure that it stays in this shape because my parents taught me to take care of stuff. I went to visit my cousin like a couple months after like giving him this thing, and it was all fucking destroyed. And I'm like, what the frick? And my parents are like, "It's not yours anymore." And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't want to give this thing away in the first place. But yes, you took care of your stuff back then. You didn't, you know, smash it up or whatever. But Leo, that brings us to you because we're doing it in age.
Sure. Yeah. You know, like all of you, you know, I've had toys and lost them. And, you know, growing up in the 80s, you're either a He-Man kid or a Star Wars kid. I was a Star Wars kid. I mean, you know, we grew up poor, so you know, we didn't, you know, I was the baby of the family, so I got spoiled. But I remember one thing in particular. There was I think it was not the Micro Machines. It was like the little metal ones, and you had like the play set.
Micronauts?
No, it was Star Wars, but it was like
like I know,
little,
I'm pretty sure they were Micro Machines. That was made by Micro Machines. Yep.
Yeah, you had like the little metal figures and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I remember my mom bought me one, and some of the pieces were missing. So we go back to the store. We already paid for it, but you know, it's back then. I don't know if you didn't return stuff or something, but you know, we're in the toy aisle, and you know, she's getting me something else, and she's goes to the one that you know, she bought previously, and she's taken the pieces out of it and putting it into the one that we bought. And you know, I had to be like 8 or 9 at the time. I start freaking out, and I'm like, "Mom, I don't want us to get arrested. No, we can't do that. We can't."
Yes, you can, kid. Shut up.
So I made her put them back, but that was at Caldors, and it was you know, just that memory is vivid. I just remember.
What an old-fashioned sentence that was. Caldor.
Caldor.
Holy shit. You see, kids,
that
Caldor
Woolworths?
used to be a store chain. Very similar to what you might know of like Target or Walmart. Its main competitions were places like Woolworths and Bradley's. That's right.
Bradley's,
So
yeah.
Woolworths and Bradley's were also stores like that.
Cowdoors
Wow.
and Woolworths are the only ones I can tell you were in Philadelphia. So
That reminds me
I don't
of
remember seeing a
Castler
Bradley
toys.
at all.
And you never will.
I used to love going to Woolworths.
Woolworths was the bomb. The
Oh,
lemonade. thing,
Zares,
that's just like-
J-Bo Zares, yeah.
yeah. Ames,
So,
Zares,
yeah,
Woolworths.
with my Star Wars collection, as I got older, I didn't have much. I had, like 2 boxes full, and I remember my nephew. Now my siblings were a lot older than me, so my nieces and nephews were closer to my age. So I remember my nephew was into G.I. Joe. But he liked my Star Wars stuff. And, I was a little bit older. I was getting into Transformers. And being the good uncle, I said, well, you can borrow my Star Wars stuff,
Here comes another story.
so my nephew was fucking spoiled. My brother, which he's, estranged from the family. He's very well off, like airplane rich, well off. And
It's true. I have met some pretty rich airplanes.
Yeah.
I get it.
My nephew had like the aircraft carrier for G.I. Joe, and he had everything.
That's something I always wanted.
Oh yeah, it's so. Anyway, I let him borrow that, and I had to be. I don't remember how long later, but I'm asking about it, and he kept on blowing me off. Turned out my brother threw it all away. And so yeah, that was I remember I had like the Rancor, Millennium Falcon, had the Tidarian shuttle. So moved on to Transformers. Had quite a bit of Transformers. Had like Credit King, Optimus Prime, and like Devastator and all that. And I held on to it for the longest time. Come to my adult years, I move out for the first time and realize that life is very difficult. So ended up selling my whole collection so I can make rent one day. And now I've been, rebuying Transformers. I've been getting the new ones, and each one I buy is something I have a memory of. Mirage is one that's very important to me because in school, a friend of mine gave me his. It was broken, but later in life, he committed suicide, and it was like the last thing I have of his. So I upgraded to the new one, and just like each one I rebuy just has a memory of, like you say, RW, trying to relive your youth, and that's why I love the toys that they're coming out with now. And like J-Bo showed, the new Thundercats, Thunder Tank, the new toys they're making now from
Thundercats.
Is that almost 500?
Yeah. That's insane.
Can I just
He
ask
said
what
that
do-
in the chat. I was
can-
like,
hold
yeah,
on,
I probably do.
Real quick,
because I own
hold
another
on
one.
1 second. What do I keep hearing? Like something sounds like it's rubbing against the microphone.
It sounds like someone's blowing their nose to me, but I don't know.
It sounds like a like static.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm backing my phone away. See if that's it.
Well, I can mute.
Now it's just
No,
going
it's not
constant.
it's not yo-yo.
Okay, so now, mute everybody one at a time.
Oh, it's John.
It's John?
It's John.
Oh,
yeah.
Button. Who's got the button?
What am I doing wrong?
Oh, no, nothing. It is probably just could be your connection.
Do
Could
you
be
have a fan on or
microphone.
anything that could be making any kind of noise?
No, I turned the fan off.
Okay. It almost sounds like
Sounds like static. Like
but now it's gone.
Yeah, it's odd. Okay, where'd I leave off? Transformers. So yeah,
Thundercats. I got 4 of those on pre-order. Those
Oh,
tanks.
nice.
Why not?
You feeling generous? Put a 5th one in for me.
There we go.
I was gonna pay my mortgage this month, but instead I was like, you know what? Let's get fucking 5 of these things.
No. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, the one thing that I had an awesome memory of growing up, and I'm sure a bunch of you had it. Is
Why
this
would I
is
have
not
your memories?
Yeah.
I don't have your memories at all, Leo. That's such a weird statement to make.
sorry. No, I mean like the Atari 2600.
You know
I
what?
still have that, and I have
Oh my God.
I have probably 5 times the amount of games shown in that picture.
Wow, this is somebody selling it on eBay. Oh my God, I loved my Atari 2600. It was
I also have the ColecoVision with the rollerball still.
Oh, nice.
And the turbo steering wheel with the gas pedal or whatever. So, like I said, anything that what is that one? The Sega?
Sega.
The original Sega or the Genesis?
No, it is not a Genesis.
Oh, it's the
Master System, Game Gear. Game Gear. Oh,
wow! I still have mine too. Do you have the thing?
Oh wow!
Do you have the magnifying glass thing that goes over to make it bigger? There you go.
He's
Do you
like,
have
who
the
you talking
TV
to?
input to turn it into a television?
No, I don't.
Ah.
In my defense, this actually was not. It wasn't mine, technically speaking, until about 4 days ago. This used to belong to my brother-in-law, and my wife found it downstairs in the basement. And I was like, what? And I plugged it in, and no, it doesn't work. It's dead. But the games here, man. I mean, Jurassic Park, Super Return of the Jedi.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Sonic? Let's see, Sonic 2. Oh, Lemmings. He's got fucking Lemmings, guys. I couldn't believe it. Sonic Spinball. This game was awesome.
That's insane.
Sonic Chaos. What else? Taz in Escape from Mars, where the bad guy is Marvin the Martian. Indubitably. I mean, yeah, I saw this and I was like, oh, I wanted a Game Gear in the worst way when I was a kid. The worst way. One of my best friends in the world, Fabrice, he had one. Can you tell Fabrice was of some kind of French descent, considering his first name? And he had the Game Gear, and I wanted it so badly. And then I kind of like decided against it once I saw the fact that he put batteries in it, but you could only play it on batteries for like 45 minutes before you just need to go plug it in. And that just wasn't worth it to me. I was fine with just holding on to my Game Boy. I'll play Black and White Super Mario Land until the fucking cows come home instead. But yeah, I might try to find a working Game Gear just to try those games out. I don't give a shit. I'll pay the money for it. I don't care.
Back in like 95, I think it was, I worked at this movie theater in South Burlington, Vermont, and my mom was on this like low-income housing thing, so I couldn't live there or her rent would go up. So I slept in my truck for like 6 months or whatever. And every day at whatever time it was, 5 o'clock at night or whatever, Star Trek The Next Generation was on an ABC affiliate station. And I would plug in the little TV adapter with the magnifying glass thing on my Sega and sit in my truck and have a cassette into my car going into the headphone jack, and I'd watch Star Trek The Next Generation with the sound coming out of my truck every single day. I'd watch Star Trek The Next Generation with that little TV adapter or whatever, which I still have.
Look at that. Everybody else was living in 1991, and you were fucking in like 21. That's fucking dope. You were ahead of the curve on that. That's what everybody does now.
Berserk. Oh my God. I love that game, but I always ran into the fucking side as I'm trying to walk and they go, I'm like, fucking stupid.
So Tom Morris brought up something great. And this is another memory of mine, the video game crash of the 80s. I only know of it because growing up poor, we didn't have a Nintendo, we had an Atari, and it was after the crash. And I remember being so excited because we went into KB Toys and there was a bin full of Atari games marked down to like $1.
Yeah.
And she's like, pick up any game you want. And I'm like, I was freaked out. And stupid me picked up Space Shuttle, which was the worst.
Why
game.
would you fucking
Well,
do that?
Because as a
the
kid, that
fucking
sounds
artwork
interesting.
got you every time. The artwork, you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, look at this artwork. This game's awesome. And it's a fucking square going like
There
this.
is a book of the Atari artwork. That
Oh
is
my God,
so
yeah.
awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
John, I muted you, so just unmute yourself when you want to talk. So was John next or RW? Who's next?
It's John's turn now.
Go for it, John.
Don't forget to unmute yourself. I
I
don't
got
know
you.
what's going on with his feedback.
We'll figure it out.
He's not unmuted yet. He's messing with us now. He's
No,
fooling a
he's
Randy.
not. He's not.
Let me.
Oh, there. No. Yeah, he was. I told you. He's pulling a Randy. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Shanty.
30 years,
That's dirty.
30 years hanging with this guy.
This
You-
guy,
you
that
learn
guy.
Yeah. Well,
This
Wait.
friggin' guy.
My allergies. Wow.
well, before I begin my story, Brandon, 2 points for you with Captain Power. A silly fun fact. Was it Sven Ole Thornson?
Yep.
Who was on the show? And isn't he one of Arnold's?
Yep. He was one. They
Okay.
used to work out together and go to the same competitions. He
Okay.
actually got a lot of work in Hollywood because of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Same thing, sort of the same thing with how Arnold Schwarzenegger was the one that recommended that they ask Lou Ferrigno to audition for the Incredible Hulk when he decided against it.
Okay.
This is Lou
I just want to make
Ferrigno.
sure.
You know
'cause
what?
I
I don't like it when I'm angry. Oh, sorry.
What was that, John?
Because when you were doing your Arnold impersonation, they mentioned Captain Power. I was like, well, wasn't Sven part of the Captain Power cast? And because I remember him
He
being
was.
in Conan the Barbarian and Running Man and things like that. And the second thing was, do we have He-Man and the Masters of the Universe to thank for why we have Power Rangers? Because wasn't Saban and Shuki Levy, weren't they story runners or something like that on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe?
No, I think we have Power Rangers because they wanted to save money and reuse footage.
So the reason we have Power Rangers is because Haim Saban went to some potential investor meetings in Japan, and while he was staying there, he was putting on the television just to like have noise going, and he saw these like kids shows that they called Sentai, and he actually started getting like sucked into it. He's like, I give him credit, like he was an older dude, he's like just there for business. He's like, this is fucking cool. He really liked it. And he was like, this is
Well,
there's a
let me
lot of
rephrase the
potential.
question. Did they get their start on He-Man? That's what I'm trying to remember, is if they got their start on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
I don't know.
Let me. Well, Neil, you look it up. I'm going to get my cartoon encyclopedia book. That's why I was curious, because
I know that. I'm looking. Didn't they do like music for those?
That might have been it. That might have been it. But
I think I think they did music for me. I think He-Man and She-Ra.
Oh yeah. They did the.
But
theme.
Inspector Gadget too, right? Like the whole dun, 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 that was them.
Okay.
One thing I never ever.
Erica Lane, Shuki Levy, Ham Saban. That's where I knew I'd seen their names, and I think He-Man was the first cartoon that they got work in.
That's pretty cool.
That's why I was and I apologize for questioning it for putting the question in initially that way, but that's why I thought they got their start. Yeah.
Actually, they in 1983 formed a long-time relationship with DIC Enterprises.
Deke.
It's Deke. And soundtrack outsourcing to different companies like Ruby Spears.
Yeah, good old Ruby.
Yeah. Although Levy and Saban composed their own composed for their own properties such as Kid Video and Mapletown, they scored for other production companies as well, such as Inspector Gadget, The Mysterious Cities of Gold, Mask, Dino Saucers, Dragon Quest, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, She-Ra, Princess of Power, and Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. So yeah, it was music, but yeah, so you definitely had the connection. It just wasn't what the connection was.
I wasn't
that
doing
you
the
thought.
connection correct. I didn't have the proper connection.
This connection will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I knew. I think I knew that they did so much though. That's crazy. But yeah, like he saw the Sentai shows in Japan, and he thought they were awesome, and that's why I think he first went to like, I think he was trying to work with Stan Lee on some stuff, and then eventually got together with Fox because they started doing Fox Kids. It was they merged or something like that. But yeah, he basically ended up he enabled himself to make money hand over fist because of that corporate merger with Fox Kids Network. And now Saban is branching out to all kinds of things besides like children's entertainment. So, hey, good for them, and good for him for seeing something that was so popular far away from like North America and saying like, yeah, we can absolutely take something as cool as this and make it just as palatable for kids back in America and Canada and stuff. So yeah, that I get it. But the funny thing is, because of some of the things that had come through from Japan already, such as Voltron, like there were kids like me who were just old enough to remember that being on. And that was the very first comparison that a lot of us made when we saw like the commercials and stuff like that for this new show. Like, look at these uniforms they're wearing, and they're just like jumping in individual like animal type robots, and then they make this big old robot with a sword. Yeah, okay. It's just like when I saw Avatar. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this already. It was Ferngully the Last Rainforest as a cartoon, right?
Speaking of commercials, I got a bunch of them. I'm gonna show, and I'll splice them out. But John, I'll let you come up with your first item, and while you wait for that, here's a 30-second commercial.
Mego presents the Planet of the Apes action figures. Dr. Zaius, the orangutan scientist. Cornelius, the archaeologist. Zira, the woman scientist. The soldier ape. And the astronaut. All Planet of the Apes action figures sold separately by Mego.
Why does it sound like it's like
Hey, where did John go?
Hey, hats off to them for for saying that Zero was a woman scientist and not Cornelius's wife. They could have done that.
Oh wow,
that's great, man.
Wow. Jesus. Bet you those are worth a pretty penny.
Not really, no.
No?
They're not the original. They're the reissues.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
The reissues are like nowadays, like what they're doing for reissues is just awesome. But sorry, continue, John.
No. I was just saying, I used to have the originals. And that's my story, is that it was November of 1976. I was 3 years old. And 3 months before, I had seen Planet of the Apes on the WCAX Saturday afternoon movie. Then I was staying with my grandparents, and I just became a huge fan. And so, anyways, we were visiting with my grandparents on that Sunday afternoon, and I just happened to look upstairs, and there was the Planet of the Apes treehouse. And I looked and I pointed and I said, I want that. So my grandmother looked at my father and she said, Joe, go upstairs and get all of that for him. My father, being a traditionalist, was furious because if it was for Christmas, it was supposed to be for Christmas. But she insisted that I'd seen it, and so she had gone. I don't know if my grandfather went with her, but on his behalf as well, she went to all the major chain outlets, Zayre's, Harry's, Woolworths, Ames, and she got all of the Planet of the Apes stuff that she could find for me for that Christmas for 1976. So I had all of the action figures, the catapult and wagon, the jail, the treehouse playset, the battering ram. I'm probably leaving something out, but it was a very nice Christmas, to say the least.
Yeah, it certainly sounds it.
And for those of you who don't know, Harry's was probably one of the greatest stores ever. It was on the Barry Montpelier Road in Berlin, Vermont, and it was just this huge family-owned like Walmart, basically. But it had everything, and it was just the coolest place that you would ever want to see.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that started my friendship with Mego. After that, it started, and then I got the Star Trek action figures, the greatest superheroes. The only figures that I didn't get that I saw in the store, but I was too young to really appreciate as a fan, were the Kiss 12-inch action figures from Mego. I remember seeing those, but I was being only 5 years old, couldn't really appreciate the band. I mean, my band was the Bay City Rollers at that point in time. Kiss came later. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, I had the Star Trek Enterprise where you put the person in, you spun it, you hit red and he disappeared to the other side, and then when you wanted to figure back, you spun it and hit green and he came back. And I had, basically the Enterprise crew.
Do you mean
the Star Trek USS Enterprise gift set with command chair, console, 3 telescreen cards, and 5 Star Trek action figures. Place Mr. Spock or any Star Trek figure into the transporter room. Spin the control knob and press the button. Mr. Spock disappears. Pretend he's left the deck of the Enterprise for outer space adventure. You can capture the Klingon and bring him back to the Enterprise. Star Trek USS Enterprise gift set. Star Trek action figures also sold separately by Mego.
And I mean, Mego, for people like John and I, again, I'm a little older than John, but for kids growing up in that era, Mego was the freaking action figures. Like it was just the coolest stuff. But anyways, I moved a bunch of times and had to house some of this stuff in not the greatest of places. So it got moldy, I guess you could say. So I had to chuck it all out. I might have a couple of the figures still, but I don't remember. I know I have Batman and Robin somewhere, and I might have a couple of the Star Trek crew or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Mego was the thing. And then one day they disappeared. And then a few years ago, like, I don't know what it was, John can tell you as soon as I say what I'm going to say, but like 10 years ago or whatever, some fake company started making Megos. And then a few years ago, Mego was like, hey, if these guys are going to make fakes, we're coming back and we're doing it because we have the patent on this. And Mego came back after 35 years or whatever it was. And now they're doing it again. And people still want Mego after all this time. Yeah. And it's just, again, I know I talk about the 70s and 80s all the time. And for those of you who weren't really there, you don't get why I'm so passionate about it. It's just, we had like some of the coolest stuff, and the fact that they bring in some of this stuff back is amazing. And they're making them for the most part the exact same way that they did 35 years ago. They've updated it very, very subtly, but for the most part, they look just like a Mego action figure. But yeah, they were the power company, power action figure company back in the day. But go ahead, John.
Well,
Continue.
to your point, basically, the wise tale about how Mego went from being the #1 toy company in the 70s to filing for bankruptcy in 1982, I believe it was, 82 or 83, with Star Wars. Something happened. Now, depending on who you talk to, if you talk to one person at Mego, they're going to say, well, we were offered the Star Wars license and we passed. If you talk to Marty Abrams, he's going to tell you, "Oh, I was out of the country when the Star Wars license was being offered to me, so somebody else declined it, and therefore there you have it." So it depends on who you speak with. But either way, Mego passed on Star Wars.
Stupid.
Bernie Loomis, Bernie Loomis of Kenner Toys said yes, and the rest is history. And our action figures went from being 8 inches tall to 3 3/4 inches tall. And we got an early version.
What's a shame is with, everybody can license Star Wars stuff now because, hell, you can license Star Wars if you want to pay. Why Mego doesn't somehow try it? But if it's a Kenner only still thing, maybe that's why. But can you imagine what Mego Star Wars action figures would look like? I mean, they'd be, we'd love to see that. But.
They'd be big.
Yeah.
Well, they had prototypes for Thundar the Barbarian, I think. They were going to do a Thundar line. I think around 81. It was there's cards. I don't know if they're fan made or if they're actual Mego cards, but I think the word was they were going to try. There's Logan's Run prototypes that they were going to do. I think they considered Kung Fu. I could be wrong. That you have to fact check me. But yeah, once they were big until May 25th, 1977. After May 25th, 1977, no more. And what they did was they went on a buying spree. They ended up scooping up every property that became available to them. So if somebody said, "Do you want Kiss?" We'll take Kiss. Do you want Buck Rogers? We'll take Buck Rogers. Do you want the Dukes of Hazzard? We're going to take the Dukes of Hazzard. Do you want Star Trek the motion picture? Yep, we'll take that. Do you want the Black Hole and Moonraker and down the line? And all of those properties, maybe Kiss being the exception, they were failures because the films did not do well. Our television series only lasted 2 years. Buck Rogers only lasted 2 years, was stifled by the writer's strike of 80, 81. And then Black Hole was unfortunate. I don't think it was a critical success. Star Trek the motion picture was not exactly. The boring picture, yeah, that wasn't a critical success. Moonraker, nobody wanted 12-inch action figures of James Bond, Drago, and Jaws, and all that. So, but
that's awesome.
That's a story of Mego.
Yeah.
Wow.
What else you got, John? Anything?
No. Now we're going to turn it over, and I'm going to use the Kiss moniker for this. You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest man in the land.
Not even. No.
You wanted the best, and since he couldn't show up, RW, everybody.
Thank you, man. Well, I'm not gonna. Again, you guys have touched on a lot of stuff. I never got into the Power Rangers ever, and it's like I go to a Comic-Con and they're like, "We got Green Ranger #2," and I'm like, "Who cares? Like seriously?" And they're like, "We got Red Ranger from season 1 and was in 2 episodes," and I'm like, "Why did these people not?" Whatever. Anyways, so here's some of the stuff from behind me. So I used to play Battleship, and then someone decided to do electronic Battleship, and then you got Simon, and then somebody was like, "Well, Simon's making a lot of money. Let's make our own, and we'll call it Einstein." And then you got Simon, you got the Galaxian, and you got Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and Frogger over there. And when I was a kid, this was the biggest thing, right there. Unfortunately, I don't have the battery covers, but electronic quarterback. And every kid in school had one of these, but me, because my parents were poor and we couldn't afford this kind of stuff. So I picked these up more recently. Again, missing the battery covers. They still do both work. But what's funny is this is the Coleco version, and then these are a little dusty. Sears decided to put theirs out. So this is the Sears version, look, and the Coleco version, and they look almost identical. And they play exactly the same. It's just one says Sears and one says, Coleco on it or whatever. But this was the big thing when I was in school. Every kid who had money had this. And then I had this little game called Blip. And if you never played this, basically you wound this one doesn't work. This one's Tracy's. But there's a red light in here. There's also no batteries. You wound this thing up, and there's 3 buttons here. And this little red button just sporadically would go across this thing, and you didn't know where it was going to go, and you had to catch it with one of these 3 buttons and send it back to the other person, and they had to try to catch it. And I mean, literally, Tomy was the electronics, company for a while. They did Hit and Missile, they did Digital Derby, which was literally just had a little steering wheel with a car that when you move the steering wheel went back and forth, and the background was what moved. You had to move your car and stuff to like not run into shit or whatever. But the big thing for me as a kid, and I would spend hours, and like I said earlier about taking care of my stuff, this thing right here, I actually have had, and I was trying to find a date on it earlier, and I couldn't find the date, but you can almost see the sticker of how much it cost. I mean, I can't read it because it's so faded, but the sticker is still on this thing. But this is the Viewmaster thing that I got for Christmas probably when I was like 10 years old, let's say. So 40-something years ago, and it's still in that shape because my parents told me to take care of your stuff. So this is my original Viewmaster thing from, again, 40 years ago. And this is the viewer that came with this specific one. But then later in life, they redesigned it. They got the really nice looking one. But before that one, this is like one of the old school ones, the old school Viewmaster. And then over here, I got this, which is kind of cool. Oh, hey, you got King Kong. And you gotta have Tron, of course. But this one actually, so the way these work, if no one knows what these things even are, some people don't, you actually had to hold them up to the light. The light showed through here, and there was pictures in here, which might, if I can find the camera, there you go. So see, that's Skeletor from E-Man.
You feckless boob.
Thank you. But this one takes 2D batteries, and inside is an actual light. So you push this down for the light to light up, and then this one would change the slide. So I never had one of these as a kid, but I found this on eBay and was like, I got to have that. So this one, you wouldn't need a light. You hold the light on and you would change or whatever. But yeah, this was my thing as a kid. Again, parents didn't have buku money. So these are all the ones that I've acquired through eBay. A lot of these in here were from eBay as well. But like I say, this thing is jammed full of things. But these right here are actually ones that I've had ever since, like 40 years ago when I was like 10 years old or whatever. Because again, parents told me to take care of my stuff or whatever. So for me, I would just sit around looking at these, you got Wizard of Oz and so on and so forth and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I mean, when you come from not a very wealthy family and you don't get, a lot of things, you learn to take care of the things that you get because you're not going to get anything else. So it really does impress me that this thing is 40 years old and still looks that good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And again, I've moved a bunch of times and it's been in storage and not in storage and in storage and not in storage. But this brings me back, like I say, 10-year-old kid just sitting there, trying to find the window or the light wherever it was so that I could look at these things. But yeah, I mean, again, the 70s and 80s were pretty cool. All of these work. Like I say, you got Donkey Kong and there's Pac-Man and Frogger and Galaxian. But
a friend of mine had the Pac-Man one and he let me borrow it. That was so much fun.
See, I feel silly because the oldest toys I still have is a Fisher-Price camera that my mom got me.
I love that.
It was like a big plastic Fisher-Price camera. It had like the you turn the lens and it's like have different filters on it.
Yep.
And my Tonka truck. Those are the two oldest toys I still have.
Speaking of Fisher-Price, one of my favorite things, and to this day when I visit my storage unit, which John's seen, and it's insane. There's probably, I'm not even joking, 150 banana boxes full of stuff because some is mine, some was my parents, some was, this person's, and I just have all this stuff. And it's about hour-and-a-half drive from here, which is 3 hours trip. And then once you're there, you're looking through boxes, and then, time goes by and you don't get the chance to go, I need to throw this out. I need to get rid of this. But I've been trying to get there and stuff. But now with gas at $400,000 a gallon, it's like not something that I'm doing. But one of my favorite things, and every time I open a box and I find it, I had the Fisher-Price Ferris wheel, and it had 4 little figures. One was like a little dog, and then 4 other ones. And you cranked it up, and I think it played In the Good Old Summertime as the thing spin. And I'm 56, and I'll go there and I'll crank that thing and I'll listen to that. And it brings me right back to being 5, 6, 7, 8, however old I was when I got that. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But yeah, Fisher-Price Ferris wheel. But yeah, I mean, again, toys, as a kid, and the kids of today, unfortunately, in my opinion, they don't think they're gypped, because all they do is play PlayStation and Xbox. And don't get me wrong, I play it too. But when I was a kid, I did this, and I'm like looking at this Skeletor, and I'm like, oh my God, look, He-Man's throwing Skeletor off a freaking cliff or whatever, and you can, it's so much fun. And you used your imagination, and you had action figures or whatever, like Planet of the Apes, and you're like, oh, Taylor, yeah, you come to, yeah, and you like created this whole world, like Pee Wee Herman,
Now, hold on. Now, there's a concept. Let's put Pee Wee Herman on the Planet of the Apes.
I don't make monkeys. I just train them. Yeah.
Good morning, Dr. Zayas.
But seriously, so like it just to me, the 70s and the 80s, there'll never be anything like it. And we could get into magazines and trading cards and comic books on a whole nother show. But like Starlog magazine, Mad magazine, Crack magazine, Fangora, trading cards. You'd go buy a pack of trading cards for like 15 cents. And now that same pack of cards, somebody on eBay wants $6 for it. And it's like insane, but you'd get these trading cards and you're like, hey, I got 2 3s. Do you have I need a 7. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, here's a 7 for your 3. And you would trade cards so you could get the complete set of the Star Wars blue, Star Wars red, Star Wars yellow, green, orange.
Garbage pail kids.
What?
Garbage pail kids.
Yeah. And my thing was wacky packages.
Wacky packs. I was going to say wacky packs and garbage pail kids, man.
Wacky packages. I just loved them, but again, that stuff is kind of like the only people who care about that are people like us who go on eBay and go, oh my God, wacky packages. And somebody's selling the Marlboro one for $7. And you're like, oh my God. Like, I would never sell my stuff for anything. Like, if this thing right here was worth, like $250 and I sold it, I wouldn't have it anymore. And the memory of this thing growing up, like you said, your cousin gave you something, it meant something to you, or your brother gave you something, or your aunt, or whatever it is. That is something that's almost priceless. Again, if you were like, hey, RW, I'll give you $150,000 sold, here you go. Fuck the memory, but like, it's just, the things back then were so different than today,
You hit up on something that's very important. And even like, we mentioned like the Atari 2600, back in those days, even the video games, you needed to use your imagination, I mean, that's why Atari gave you such awesome artwork. When you're playing the game, you're using your imagination, like, oh my God, that's what the dragon should look like, or whatnot, and we're past an age where kids, they like the video games. They get shown whatever they want, and they don't really use their imagination. So it's definitely a time gone.
It is, and that's why I'm glad that we, the 5 of us are here and we're talking about this, because it's like, you try to tell anybody today what it was like, and they're like, dude, that was then. You're an old fart. I'm like, you're damn right I am. But we had the coolest shit, and like, go online and try to buy some of this stuff. And like, it's like fucking tripled in price. And like, if there was such thing as time travel, I would grab all the money I have right now. I'd go back in time and I'd buy all this shit, come back time, and I'd sell it on eBay, and I'd be a fucking millionaire because this stuff is like, some stuff doesn't even exist anymore, like the Wayne Foundation Mego thing, the Planet of the Apes. What's it called? The Planet of the Apes.
Which one?
The whole
Tree house.
The tree house. Like these things are like fucking $15,000 or something. I mean, it's insane.
Leo,
there's not that many left. Go ahead.
Leo, if you have a chance, look up the price right now. The rarest Mego item, I think, is the Wayne Foundation playset that was released in 1977.
Yeah, on eBay. That's not what it's going to sell for, but it's what somebody wants for it or whatever. But it's still in a box or whatever. But like I say, if time travel were possible, you go back to the 70s and just stock up and bring all that stuff back to now and put it up on eBay in its original packaging, and you'd be rich.
Oh, I remember that.
Who here used Toy Shop magazine back in the day?
Can you throw that up there, Leo?
Not me.
Okay, so I remember seeing one of these at a yard sale and wanting it so bad, and we couldn't get it.
1,200, 1,500. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you this Charlie Brown thing is probably like, in the 60-something dollar range. Maybe. I don't even know. I don't even care. But it's amazing how much some of this original, like I want the G.I. Joe space capsule thing just because I think it looks cool. And it's like freaking like, 60, 80, $100. I'm like, wow. That thing there. Well, the $22 is the stand.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And it gets you every time. And if you're not careful, you buy that and it's the stand. Yeah. Every one of those is the stand for that capsule. But when you find the actual capsule, it's like, $150 in a box, $100 for that one. Like, it's just insane. And and the one thing I forgot to bring down here for this podcast, and I knew I'd forget something, is the Montgomery Ward's catalogs that I have. I have a 72, a 77, a 79, and an 82. And that's what you did as a kid, is you opened up the Montgomery Ward's catalog or Sears, and all that stuff was in there. And all this stuff that we're talking about right now, like that, but the capsule was like $10. And the Wayne Foundation thing was probably like $20 or whatever.
And if we remember, the companies like Kenner and Mego, Mattel, they would do exclusives for Sears or Montgomery Ward's or even service merchandise that you couldn't get anywhere else. Kind of like the agreement that Mego and Topps entered into. You order the action figures. This is the only place you'll be able to get them now. I think that deal has since fallen through, but there was the alter egos that Mego did of Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson, and Peter Parker. And you could only get those through Montgomery Ward's. You couldn't get them anywhere else but Montgomery Ward's. They were exclusive to that. And then for Christmas '79, because I was a fan of the Incredible Hulk, Sears had the Incredible Hulk, I want to say Hideaway vinyl playset, and it wasn't officially Mego, but it was a vinyl playset that you could use for the 8-inch Incredible Hulk and other World's Greatest Superheroes action figures.
And Funko does that now, where it's like, get this Batman exclusively at Target, or get this Batman exclusively at Best Buy or Walmart or Amazon or whatever. So yeah.
Oh man, that thing is cool.
Yeah, eBay's a bad place to visit.
Trust me, I know.
I'm well aware, man. I bought all those statues in like a 3-month time frame, and that was real stupid. It was all mostly through eBay because I couldn't find them anywhere else.
Do you enjoy them?
Yeah, of course I do. I wouldn't have. Yeah, I know,
but it's not stupid if it makes you happy.
No, I said it was a stupid amount of money.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, and I sometimes, like Brandon was saying, he had all that Star Wars stuff and it's all gone. And I'm not trying to rehash that, but I think about, all the stuff that's here, and it's not even that much of stuff or whatever, and I got stuff in storage or whatever. I die tomorrow, the stuff gets thrown out because my kids aren't going to want it. So I enjoyed looking at it, and I don't necessarily play with this thing every day. Oh, let me play Blip. Oh my God, it's electronic football. I gotta freaking get my fix. No, it collects dust, and that's it. So why do we collect stuff? And we said it earlier. It's the nostalgia of being a kid, and you get to look at it and you go, "Oh my God, I remember when I was 10 and I used to look at this thing all the time." Blah 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 blah. But
I tend to get things that I couldn't get as a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The more I think about my childhood, it's weird. Like we didn't grow up in the best area. Like most of us here, we didn't grow up in like the best situations.
No. You guys aren't the only ones. Like it wasn't fantastic for me.
No, that's what he said. He said most
of
us here didn't grow up in the greatest.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he was like referring to he and Leo. I'm like, you guys weren't the only poor motherfuckers.
No.
Fuck. I lived in fucking Charles Newtown.
Yeah,
I'm from North Philadelphia. I understand.
We'll put it as a default. All of us grew up poor. You know, it's just we'll
struggling, whatever. Yeah. Go ahead though, Yo. Finish.
Good, Yo. I apologize.
Like the more I think about it, my parents tried pretty hard to like make like our birthdays and Christmas like things that were like somewhat memorable. Like even if it wasn't much.
Yep. Had those same parents.
Yeah. You know, it's funny too because for something like Christmas and what have you, and even my own birthday, you know, my aunts and uncles and everybody. And this is even as a little kid, particularly as a little kid, I always remember being asked, like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? And I never had an answer because I always just like felt bad about saying something that I might want. Like, so I was just not a very receptive kid to that question. And I would always end up getting, I mean, they were pretty good about knowing things I liked anyway, but you know, I was mostly a bookworm. Because I figured out early on that, especially after my dad refused to let my mom throw my comics out, like if I got books and things to read, those would be left alone. You know, so like I got all kinds of stuff to read, and that suited me just fine. But now that I'm a 40-year-old man that has a pretty decent job, I spend money like a fucking chimp in a beat-off contest. It's ridiculous. You know, like. For real, I cannot be trusted by myself, like walking the floor of like a large comic convention. Like it's a good thing that Dara comes with me each time because otherwise I would come home and be like, so there's good news and bad news. The good news is I found so much stuff that I saw and liked and I got it. What's the bad news? Well, I got it. So we're gonna have to. I hope you're a big fan of ramen noodles because that's what we're gonna be eating for a while. What's a while? Like a week? Yes. Times like 4. So like a month.
Yeah. So my dad worked wicked hard. And, you know, even though he worked hard and made money, he had bills to pay and, you know, things to take care of and stuff. So same thing. What do you want for Christmas? So I'd get the catalog, I'd circle all these things. And I look at this catalog now. I'm like, dude, the fucking thing was $10. This thing was $2 or whatever. Right. But that $10, you know, then was like something for us that's $30, $40 now or whatever. So I get it. I didn't get it as a kid. I'm like, dude, you have money. Look at all that money you have. So they'd always say, well, we don't have that kind of money. So they would do good. This one time I wanted this thing. It was called Hot Wheels Thunder Shift 500. It was this really cool racetrack thing. It had these 2 handles. You put your cars in these little slots.
When the pros race, skill counts. They make one wrong move, they blow the race. New Hot Wheels Thunder Shift 500 puts racing action in your hands. Power them up with a shift. Through the tunnel and shift again. That's Thunder Shift 500 action. And the faster you shift, the faster your speed in the turns. He blew the shift, and you're the Thunder Shift 500 champ. Thunder Shift 500 comes with 2 Hot Wheels Flying Colors cars. Partial assembly required from Mattel.
Now that
did you guys plan this? Every time, like it seems like almost every time he's mentioned something, they was just like, "I got that commercial."
I knew.
I mentioned Street Sharks, and I didn't see a Vin Diesel.
No. So as RW has been wanting to talk about toys for a while, so this is a very special show for him. And I asked him to, you know, send me a list of some of his favorite toys, and I looked up the, you know.
I didn't know he was going to look up videos, but that's wicked cool. So. For Christmas one year, I asked for that. And my parents said, we don't have that kind of money. So when I was growing up, my sister and I shared a room, and it was weird because you came in the front door and you were in the kitchen / dining room. It was this one big room. To the left, with no kind of door or anything, it was just wide open, was the living room. And if you went straight ahead coming in the door, there was a bathroom, and to the left was my sister and my room. And then there was a door in that room that led down this little like hallway thing, and it was my parents' room. So like my parents' room was right off our room. Everybody could see and hear everybody all the time and whatever. So I was playing with a rubber ball one day, and I was bouncing it around, and it rolled down this little, like, I call it a ramp, but it was just the floor was lower. So it just, one room went to another, but the floor kind of went down. And the ball rolled under my parents' bed. So I got on my stomach to get my ball back, and under the bed was Thunder Shift 500. So my parents come home from work, or my dad comes home from work, and I go, I can't believe you guys got me. And they go, we didn't get it for you. We told you we couldn't afford it. I go, the ball rolled under the bed. So if my parents were smart, they would have fucking taken it back and not given me the fucking thing, but they did. So that I played with that thing for hours. Like I said, you pull the little thing, the car spins around, and it was just so much fun. But most of the time we didn't get that big item thing that we really wanted because it was so expensive. But that Christmas, my dad did what he had to do to get me that toy. But the embarrassing thing for me looking back, and it was kind of embarrassing then too, but every Christmas Eve or the week before Christmas or whatever, a knock would come on the door, and it would be the Waterbury Fire Department with this box. And they're like, here, Merry Christmas, because we were low income people, and they would bring us gifts because we were pathetic and whatever. So it's like, oh,
we used to
I
go
don't think that's
to
pathetic.
we used to go to a place to get our
I don't
stuff.
think
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying. So like every year, the freaking fire
That's how I got
department
my
came
Batman.
and brought us stuff or whatever. But
my dad was a Salvation Army kid.
Was he?
He was born at a Salvation Army in Boston. So every year until he turned 13, they would show up at my grandmother's house with birthday presents and Christmas presents for him.
That's cool. But yeah, I mean, like you say, your parents weren't rich, they weren't wealthy, they were hardworking people, and they cared about you, and they tried to do the best they could for you. And again, I miss my parents dearly. I lost them both in 2005, 13 days apart. And it's funny because when I was a kid and all these relatives were dying and stuff, I'm like, I hope my parents don't die until I'm like 40, because I figured 40 was like old, And when I was 40, my dad died, and it was like, oh, this isn't really that old at all. And then 13 days later, my mom died, and I was like, yeah, you should have rethought that as a kid, So 17 years later, both my parents are gone, and I'm telling these great stories, which is awesome because it keeps their memory alive and what kind of good people they were or whatever. But yeah.
Sorry. Lawn darts.
I love it.
I actually have a.
I was just talking with Dara
right here.
about. Yeah, I was talking with her about lawn darts the other day, and I was like, yeah, they've been banned in North America, and she was like, what? I'm like, yeah. What do you mean what? They're a fucking weapon.
Well, now they have that little ball on the end instead.
Yeah, now it's just like a weighted beanbag.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes more sense. That's what they should have done from the start.
So out of all of us, who played with lawn darts?
Well, I just said.
I know.
I didn't have a lawn, so
I didn't have a lawn until we moved out of Charlestown and went to Brockton.
When we moved to Massachusetts, not even when we moved to Massachusetts, when we moved to the second house we moved to, because we were renting a place initially when we moved to Massachusetts. We finally had a yard, and I was already in high school at that point, so we did recreate the Smash Brothers commercial where they're like frolicking.
Oh, nice.
My brother and my sister did that because we finally had like a yard to do something stupid in.
There was this fairly wealthy guy who lived in Waterbury, Vermont. He owned this nice brick house. I mean, it was probably the house that everybody would want to own in Waterbury. His name was Paul Bigelow, and I don't remember I think he was an architect or something. And he, like I said, made lots of money and had a clay tennis court in his backyard. And he met this lady in Colombia, I think, and she became his, like, in the summers he would be in Vermont, and then in the winters he'd go to Florida or wherever, but she would be his housekeeper in Vermont. And she had a son named Juan Carlos. And so when he was there in the summers, one day I met him and I'm like, hey, my name's Randy. Hi, I'm Juan Carlos. And I'm like, where do you live? And he's like, over here. And so we started hanging out and we used to recreate Shazam. Like we'd watch this Shazam episode and then we'd recreate it and pretend that we had a Winnebago and come out of this Winnebago on his back lawn and, you know, do the whole thing. But he had lawn darts. And he hit me in the freaking leg with one, and like I have the scar still or whatever. But
he must have felt terrible.
You're supposed to both stand here and throw your darts this way, and then go over there and throw them back. But we were like, "Hey, it'd be so much easier if I throw mine to you, and then you throw yours back, and that way we don't have to keep walking."
No one could have foreseen this.
These are dangerous. There should be a
warning
label. Not for Randy.
Oh, jeez. I know we are running a little late. I just wanted to bring up one thing real quick. Actually, two things real quick. One is, and I mentioned it earlier, I absolutely love that, you know, and Brandon, you've mentioned it, weaponized nostalgia, you know.
Yes, that's trademark, patent pending.
But I mean, like, you know, this is a toy I never had as a kid. And, you know, I always wanted, you know, Voltron, but, you know, the remaking Voltron is $300.
Yeah, that was the first thing I saw. I didn't see the robot. I saw the price.
Yeah. But I mean, this here is insane. It's 10.5 inches tall. I don't know if it's made out of full metal, but yeah, die-cast metal parts, which means mostly plastic with some parts. But yeah, I mean, the toys they're making today, like the new Transformers toys, very, you know, G1 stuff. You know, the stuff we grew up with, and the quality is really good.
I mean, it better fucking be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're into Transformers, you can go into crazy stuff.
Yeah, they're more than meets the eye for sure.
Oh yeah. So so they have something called the Masterpiece series, which is a replica of the G1, but really high quality. But you're $224 for one.
So speaking of those big guys, look up the Shogun Warriors. Does anybody remember those? They had little wheels on the bottom. They're about this big. I had a blue and red one, and it had a little axe that you'd pull back, and then you put this little trigger and it'd throw the axe. So I had a bunch of stuff. I had this ex-girlfriend who's like, you don't need all this stuff, and made me throw out a bunch of stuff, including the Shogun Warrior thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can find it. Had blue legs, I think, or red legs. It was red and blue and had like spike things on its head, and it had its fists were out like this, and you put the none of those. Man, I don't. Yeah. Shoot. No, let's see. I'll look it up. It might. I call them the Shogun Warriors. But
well, while you look it up, I'm just gonna go here real quick.
You're in my control.
Think again. 4 heroes fighting to stop Dr. Paranoid and his evil creations from taking over the world. They fight, they bite, they kick some serious spin. 3 sharks, Ripsters, Blades, Jab, and Big Slam Jump. Fighting to defeat Dr. Paranoid, half man, half piranha monster.
Time to go spear fishing.
Go, fish, blowfish. 3 sharks. They bite. They fight. They kick some serious spin. Each sold separately. New from Mattel. Awesome.
That was for you, Yo-Yo.
you.
So
It's not the Vin Diesel one, but I will take it.
Yeah.
That one was kind of
So
awesome.
if you look it up, it's Dragun. So Dragun, Shogun Warrior. Yeah, and like I said, I had one of these, and I forget how huge these things are, but you'll find a better picture. But yeah, they're blue and red, and I had one of those, and I loved this thing. And like I said, this ex of mine,
The hands fired off, and
it's like, get rid of this, get rid of that. You don't need this. You don't need that. What are you going to do? What's going to happen if you die tomorrow? What am I going to do with all this stuff? Throw this out, get rid of that, throw this, throw this, throw this. So like a whole bunch of stuff got wiped out. So
no, I can't remember if Shogun Warriors was, if Mattel did it as part of the Godzilla line or if Godzilla was part of the Shogun Warrior line, because they had Godzilla and Rodan. I had Godzilla when I was growing up, and you pulled a lever down the back and out would become a flaming tongue. And,
yeah, there it is. I think it's at 25, the second one or whatever. But yeah, there's the replacement legs. That's funny. Yeah, wow, $100, 75. Yeah, okay.
Here's the vintage in a box 300.
That's not. Is that the drag gun one though?
Drag gun die-cast metal in box.
Oh, so that's mine was plastic. So, mine was, like I said, like that one that was farther down or whatever. But yeah, oh, there it is, right there, the $299 one. 200. That one there. That's the one that I had right there. Like it was. And again, she's like, you don't need this. Get rid of it. But yeah. They like threw a little axe out of it.
$200 and it's in that condition.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Unreal.
Like, and as I said before, and I stand by it. If I still had it and somebody's like, "I'll give you $200 for it," I'm like, "No, I'm all set." It's my thing. It means something to me. Not the $200. You give me $200, I spend the $200. Now what do I got? Not the Shogun Warrior. That's the way. That's the way I look at it.
That's why I asked earlier if anybody ever used Toy Shop Magazine before eBay. And that's what I started using when I got back into toy collecting. A friend of mine, Johnny Forkey, introduced me. He says, "You ever seen this magazine?" And I said, "What is it?" He said, "It's called Toy Shop Magazine." And I said, "Well, what's in it?" He said, "It's got all of these stores that sell these vintage toys." And I said, "Do they have Planet of the Apes Migos?" And he said, "As a matter of fact, they do." And so I said, let me see this. And I said, and so he showed it to me.
Pictures of Spider-Man. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And so I took down the address and I got a subscription. And for a period of about 3 years, that was my inroad to toy collecting and getting what I could for vintage toys.
Yeah, before eBay and Etsy and
before eBay came along and
Marketplace and all those
everything up.
Yeah. Speaking of, like I say, we were saying, eBay addictions or whatever. Okay, I don't want to say that because then I'll get picked on. So let me try wording this a different way.
Picked on anyways, just say
it. So I've been working on my Village People costume for a reason. And so that got me back into the Village People. And like back in the day, I knew YMCA and in the Navy.
From what I'm given to understand, you're not the only man that's ever been into the Village People.
Well, it's weird though, because like who listens to them now? Nobody, right? But I've been buying these albums that I never knew existed on eBay. And like, I'll be like,
wait, they have more songs than just YMCA and In the Navy and Macho Man? What?
Yeah. So, but what's cool about it is I've got these two records that are the same title, but one was made in Canada and one was made in like New Zealand or something. The record companies are different. The album covers are slightly different. The way they put the songs on the album are slightly different. So
and Murray shows up on the one made in Canada. Wait,
what? What?
And Murray shows up on the one in Canada. Why the fuck is she singing Danny's song on this? I don't understand.
Yeah, but so anyways, that's what happens. So then like the mail comes and Tracy's like, "What's this record?" I'm like, "Who says it's a record? It's flat and it's square." I'm like, "It might not be a record." And she's like, is it another Village People album that you already have? And I go, I don't know. I haven't opened it yet.
Only
Why, yes, it is.
technically.
Actually, I don't have it yet. Okay, now I.
I'll have it in a few moments if you get out of my way.
But yeah, so anyways, that's what's happened to me. So I have to stay off eBay and Etsy. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, this is the German import. What are those?
That's the Village People.
Oh, nice. In the Casablanca book?
Yeah.
Nice.
And Party Every Day by Larry Harris. He was the guy who used to be the vice president of Casablanca Records.
Macho man.
and the reason, well, the thing is, I mean, who would have thought that a label like Casablanca would have Kiss, Donna Summer, the Village People, Angel. They had Cher for a little while. Robin Williams, I think, first comedy record was released on Casablanca.
Oh wow!
So they were a label to be reckoned with in the 70s.
Of all the record companies and all the towns in all the world, you signed up with my
Actually, if you go back, Leo, if you can pull it up, there is an ad for Kiss's first album. And the guy doing the ad is doing his worst Humphrey Bogart.
Oh my God.
Kiss, it's just a kiss, baby. No joke. And yeah.
I think Leo still has like 6 other videos he needs to freaking show. Let's see what else. Oh, the Evel Knievel stunt bike.
My God.
Who remembers that? Is there a commercial for the Evel Knievel stunt bike, Leo?
As a matter of fact, there is. Do you have it, Leo?
This is Evel Knievel and the Evel Knievel shock-absorbing stunt cycle. You can make them do wheelies, backstands, even mid-air somersaults. And for that big jump, here's Evel, up and over that 4-foot ditch. Evel Knievel, sold separately or with the Evel Knievel stunt cycle from Ideal.
There. Now, I always wanted that, and my parents are like, we don't have that kind of money. So I had this friend, Tony Izor, whose parents were really wealthy, and they'd have lawn sales every year, and I'd buy all their stuff. So I managed to get all this stuff used from my friends or whatever. So yeah, I ended up with it for a while.
Yo, what's that baby's name?
This is Mika. She was
Hi, Mika.
Sitting at my feet the whole time and running up. So.
Pearl, you want to be on the podcast? Come here. Gosh. Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Evel Knievel. She is. So this is my mom's cat. So.
You didn't happen to pull up an Action Jackson commercial, did you?
Oh, no. Leo, no. Not that one.
Leo's like, maybe I did.
No.
Okay. Oh my God.
Well, maybe we can start to kind of wind down.
Yeah.
Anybody want to talk about a slap?
I was just gonna say before we go, since we've been talking about all these toys that really slap, maybe
love it.
Maybe we can mention a little the slappening that occurred.
Well, again, I know. All I can say is what Will Smith did to Chris Rock, in my opinion, was just a big slap in the face.
I mean, I think everybody feels the same way. Go to your room. Finish your salad. I'm not eating any salad. Go to your room.
So, Brandon, there was a lot of back and forth in the chat, but you had some good views on it. What would you like to say about it?
Okay. Here's the thing. I understand that there's a lot of people out there that are looking at it like, oh, if my wife had gotten spoken about like that at some kind of award show, I'd have done the same thing, and this, that, and the other thing. Well, here's the deal. He just said, in referral to her shaved looking head. You know, can't wait for G.I. Jane 2 because Demi Moore was in G.I. Jane and famously shaved her head for it. It's a rather innocuous comment. It really was not a roast. And Chris Rock came out like almost right after him. He's like, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know she had alopecia. Just because some people have talked about it and she brought it up fairly recently doesn't mean that it's like ubiquitous and it's just like common knowledge.
I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, like, alopecia, it sucks to have, but it's not life threatening. It's really not that big a deal. And believe it or not, a lot of women develop alopecia, more men than women. But usually when that happens, women across every race and culture, they'll wear a wig, or they'll shave their head like Jada Pinkett Smith did. I have alopecia. I developed it in my early 20s. And for me it was bad. It wasn't like just like clear loss of hair. I lost it in patches. I lost it right here on either side of my chin, a spot on the side of my head, and a spot on the back of my head. So I started making sure that, you know, I kept my head clean shaved as much as I could, and all I could do was just keep shaving this. And I eventually, like, I stopped touching those areas because I found out like it was stress related, stress triggered for autoimmune system and all that. I understand the desire and instinct to stand up for somebody that you love. However, they were at a show. Chris Rock is a comedian, and he was simply doing an introduction. I think it was an overreaction. They're adults. That was not like some fly by night kind of like event that they were at. It was the Academy Awards. I mean, Will Smith was there as a nominee. There's a little bit of decorum that needs to take place. And Jada Pinkett Smith is far from the only person that gets little tiny comments made like that about them during the course of such things. I get that he would be upset. It is interesting to note, though, too, well before the Academy Awards, Chris Rock had actually talked about how he has, for lack of a better term, a bit of a disability. He actually has a lot of difficulty reading nonverbal cues from people. If you actually watch the slap occur, Chris Rock sees Will Smith coming at him with clear purpose. I mean, he goes right at him, and Chris Rock puts his hands behind his back and almost like leans forward in like a friendly manner and smiles. He's like, ah, and then gets slapped. You know, like that's not normal. You know what I mean? Like, to watch it, it's odd because you would think like, dude, how do you not read that that's about to happen? And boom, there you go. I felt terrible for Chris Rock. And the thing that frightens me about this entire thing, regardless of where anybody falls on it, is there are so many people out there now saying like Will Smith was right and, you know, I'd have done the same thing.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought to me.
Yeah.
That's a very scary thought because I'm very true. I used to do stand up, and to think that there may be people now that will feel emboldened to try to do such a thing in like clubs when a comedian starts, you know, busting chops for people in the audience is horrifying.
Which they love to do.
Dangerous precedent.
What's
dangerous precedent. A very dangerous precedent.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a very dangerous precedent. Absolutely. Yeah. And I just, you know, I'm very concerned at also the fact that it happened, and then all the people there in the room that saw it, that giant area, they all stood up and applauded when Will Smith won his award, you know, essentially minutes later. I mean, that's horrifying. That's terrifying as well. That it just makes me think of that story of Kitty Genovese. You know, the only thing worse than doing bad things is being indifferent to bad things happening in front of you. And no one did anything at all. Like, not even like, oh, you know what, we're not staying here for the rest of this. You know, nobody like got up and like, nope, I'm not staying here for this. I'm out of here. And it just, I don't know. It really was disheartening to see how all this was going down.
Wasn't Benedict Cumberbatch one of the ones standing up and applauding him?
Everybody was. I mean, there were a
And
lot of folks.
There was that other video, and again, whatever, where the guy walks up, or Will Smith is walking up for something, and that one guy fucking gives him the big hug, and Chris Rock is like, I don't know if you saw that one. I don't know.
Chris Rock, did he leave right after?
Yeah, I don't know, but
pretty sure that was like he left right after. Remember hearing that from like on like a video that he apologized to on the site. No one apologized to the women who are like the hosts for those shows except him.
Oh yeah, and they put so much work into that entire event, and
like the person who gets assaulted is the one who's apologizing to them for how that like affected them.
A couple of things that obviously suck is here's Liza Minnelli, who's a legend in a wheelchair, can barely function, and no one's talking about, oh my God, Liza Minnelli, blah, 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 blah. It's like Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith. So that whole thing overshadowed literally everybody else's moment because no one really is talking about anything else but the Will Smith slap or whatever.
Well, he went in for his documentary, like literally that's what they were introduced, like.
And Sam Jackson got a Lifetime Achievement Award that evening as well.
Yeah, and nobody's talking about any of the things that you should be talking about from such a thing.
Like how there's supposed to be something wrong with us as a society to think that that's okay at all. Like I've seen women like, oh, like good for him standing. Like no,
yeah, exactly. I'm like,
that's
what?
So toxic.
And
like,
again,
that idea that that's okay.
I'm a comedian, not a professional stand-up or anything, and I'll say things sometimes. And the thing about comedy is whether you're Robin Williams, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, or Eddie Murphy telling your jokes of Norton and freaking Ralph Cramden, or whatever, you're going to offend somebody because not everybody is going to find the things you say funny because they might identify with it, but you don't go punch somebody in the face or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you learn, you should learn earlier in life. You have to learn to like, control your anger, your emotions. If somebody upsets you, you let them know that you've been upset. You do that by discourse. You use your words. You act like a thinking, reasoning human being. And for me, it seemed very performative. And I'm not saying it was staged because that shit's ridiculous. I don't think it was staged at all. When I say performative, I mean like there was an aspect to it for Will Smith to do that because Will Smith, very unfortunately, he was turned into a joke because of like their little red table talks and stuff like that. And whatever their arrangement in their marriages, that's fine. That's their business. I don't judge.
But they decided to make that public. So
but when they made
that decision,
yeah, it's such a big deal. And I understand that it was a political move on their part. They were trying to get out ahead of it because the guy that she had been like seeing outside of their marriage was starting to like tell people about it or whatever. But I think there's a little bit of that was like the facade of Will Smith cracking for the first time throughout like all of this. And he needed to do something particularly in front of his wife to prove how like the depth of how much he cares for her. I feel like there are probably better ways to do that.
I don't think it had anything to do with like to a point. I don't know if it had much to do with her as much as to do with him. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's both. It's both. It's how it's him wrapped up in her, like how he feels about the whole thing because of everything that's gone on with her and how they've basically publicly kind of aired everything out. And it's just a real sticky wicket altogether. I will say this, moving forward, I think that you are going to see a very different setup for the Academy Awards in perpetuity. There is no longer going to be a wide open stair set for the stage. You are going to see security positioned near the stage, and the path to get there is going to be much more narrow. So there's not ease of access for anybody to just walk up the way that Will Smith did. And
funny
a lot of people are losing their shit too, because they're like, the Academy should have done this, that, and the other thing. And you know what? I honestly don't blame the Academy, not the people in the room or anything like that. Just like straight up the Academy running it. They didn't know what to fucking do, because that had never fucking happened, and it never occurred to them that it
Well, actually, John Wayne was at an Academy Awards, and I don't know her name, but she's a Native American, and she was accepting an award for Marlon Brando. She was accepting an award on Marlon Brando's behalf, and John Wayne was going to rush the stage, and security had to hold him back. So it didn't get to that escalation thing, but something similar almost happened.
But yeah, so it didn't happen.
Right, no, but I'm saying it could have happened. So
it could have, but it sounds to me like security got wind of it going to happen. There was
probably some distance. I don't know the full exact story with it, but no matter what, you don't hit somebody. But second of all, again, Chris Rock's comedy is Chris Rock's comedy. You either like Chris Rock's comedy or you don't. I mean, some people don't like his comedy, but you can say, I don't like George Carlin's comedy. I don't like Richard Pryor's comedy. I don't like Robin Williams' comedy. But they're there to make fun of people. That's what a comedian's job is to do. So you don't go up and punch somebody for something you don't like. And Chris Rock, I mean, again, whether he should have said it or not said it, he didn't deserve to be punched. And he handled it so beautifully. I'm like, Chris Rock just kicked the shit out of me. That's never happened. History was made here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and then went on with the show. I would have gotten hit and went, fuck you all, I'm out. Like, literally.
I mean, he stuck with the old adage, too. I mean, no matter what, the show must go on. So he did what he had to do to shrug it off and finish the job he was there to do.
Yeah.
And hats off to him for it.
What's up, John?
Well, my question is, if we go back even further, I'm just curious about this, so hopefully somebody can help me out with this. Wasn't Will Smith responsible, and I can't remember the lady's name.
Oh,
the
yeah.
lady who originally played Aunt Viv.
Oh, yes.
Bel Air. Wasn't he originally responsible
for her
getting fired from the show?
Yes. And kind of blacklisted from Hollywood. Yep.
Yeah. And so this is a history with him. He does this kind of stuff. And also, too, there's been comments made that Jada has emasculated him, for better.
Well, exactly. I mean, the emasculation is why I was saying, like, I think it was a bit performative for his. Yeah, it was performative for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He laughed initially.
Yeah, and he
was
saw her reaction, and she.
Now, there's a third party in this that's not been mentioned, and not that he had anything to do with it, but does anybody remember what Seth Rogen said a few months before the Oscars, or maybe a month before the Oscars aired? Does anybody really care about the Oscars anymore?
No, not particularly.
No, that's what Seth Rogen
Well,
said.
I mean, it was even with that, it was still the second lowest ratings for.
I know.
I mean, it's not like that helped out.
Yeah, but as a PR, I mean, everybody's talking about it, you know.
And that's why everyone's saying like, "Oh, that was staged." I don't think it was. I really don't.
No,
the reason why. Okay, it's a two-tier thing. One, the ratings part of it. The Academy Awards, especially in this day and age when we see so much disparity between the classes, you know, the upper class and lower class, there is like no real middle class anymore. Okay, to watch the hoi polloi of the Hollywood elite getting together and giving themselves awards, it's very masturbatory, for lack of a better term. Like, that's great that they're all patting themselves on the back. Okay, whoopty shit. Like, and on top of it, a lot of the movies that people like to go out and see en masse are not necessarily the ones that are being touted in being nominated for awards.
Yeah, because they don't qualify. They don't fit into our category.
You know,
yeah.
Scorsese.
I remember 40 years ago when E.T. lost to Gandhi. I was furious because E.T. was the better. For me, it was the better, picture of the two. And now 40 years later, here you have Ben Kingsley in Marvel films, or in The Sopranos, or you just find him wherever.
And that's the thing is you have filmmakers like Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese talking smack about these big Marvel tentpole movies and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's like a theme park and all that shit. It's like, yeah, dude, but people are going to see them and no one's getting all like excited and ready to go see something like with all of their friends because you fucking released The Irishman. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not to say that there's not a place for all of these types of movies, but just because there's different movies from the type you make that are being very successful and people like them, I don't know that calls for saying, oh, they're not like real cinema or anything like that. No, I mean, they have to go through the same story process and shooting everything just like you would have to. It's sort of a passing on of the torch in regards to how the continuation of Hollywood goes. I mean,
it's a progression, is what it is.
Yeah, it used to be all westerns, and then we got into all kinds of space exploration and sci-fi stuff, and then it got to gritty action movies, and now we have superhero movies. It always ends up being the next big thing, and whatever the technology allows to seem more realistic.
But I do think the superhero films, to just give a negative Nancy point of view, I think we're seeing too many superhero films. I don't think we're seeing enough original ideas coming out.
I don't think we're seeing too many. It's just that it's a new genre now, and it's opened up to, people that enjoy those movies. Same thing as like rom-com, like how many rom-coms come out in a year, or how many documentaries come out in a year. There's tons of them, but you don't say there's too many of them. It's just each have their own niche, their own type of people that are going to go see it. It's just that the superhero movies draw a lot of people. That's why they're being touted more in the theaters.
But that's the thing, is like with filmmakers like that saying disparaging those movies coming out and what have you, then you have filmmakers like P.T. Anderson who comes out and says, I'm happy that Spider-Man No Way Home was being released in theaters. That's great. We should all be very happy that people are excited and going to the cinema and selling out entire theaters to see these movies, because they're not doing it for other movies. And if we want to see theaters and cinemas survive, those are the kinds of movies that are going to do it. It's not going to be period pieces or rom-coms.
Well, to that point, if Coppola, Scorsese, and others are going to disparage, then make a film that's going to blow away the superhero film and say, hey, wait a minute. I went and saw, I'll use an example.
Yeah.
A big screen adaptation of Moon Knight. Did you see that? Yeah, but I went and saw this great film by Martin Scorsese. He really brought it back. He brought his game back with this new film. So don't disparage. Do something.
See it as a challenge. See it as a challenge.
Totally.
Well, rise to it. Just rise to it. Yeah.
Well, talking about like at the theater right now, I mean, we have the Batman that's currently out. We have Morbius that's currently out. But
Morbius, that's fine. Morbius is sure drawing them.
No. I mean, talking about the different genres.
No, I know.
I mean, there's one out right now that I'm excited to go see, and I'll probably see at the theater. That's not a superhero movie. Is Everything Everywhere, or whatever
that does look like it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, that looks totally unique movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
looks like a unique storyline.
So movies like Peanut Butter Falcon, we need more movies like that. Feel good movies or whatever. But
back to the good. But yeah. We need more original stories,
right? Original human feels stories. But back to the Will Smith thing, real quick. Is if you watch some of his old stuff where he's doing stand-up comedy, he's picking on people just like he got picked on, and no one walked up on stage and punched him. And the other thing that concerns me is his son goes, and that's how we do it. Yeah. So you're saying violence is the answer to everything. Somebody messes with us, you get punched. So like that's his son saying, this is what we do. So to me, that was the worst part of the whole thing, is having the son tweet, that's how we do it. Like, no.
To me, the thing is, like, right after that, he put on Instagram, oh, can't bring Philly and Baltimore people anywhere. Like, so he's joking around about the fact he did it. So any apology he gives to me is bullshit.
Yeah,
this is coming from, like, I'm from Philly. I know some of his family. Like,
well, the thing that gets me too is like, oh, that's how we do it. However, his own mother and siblings were like, what the fuck was he doing? Like, straight up, they're like, we have no idea why he would do that.
Like, you don't bring up, like,
like, so don't say like, oh, I'm from Philly and this is how we do it. And then his own mom, his own mother was like, no, that is not what we do.
Like, I taught you better than that.
He was cracking under the bouquet of everything. So,
but like, to me, like, any apology from him means nothing, because he was joking around like right after he like.
Yeah, you don't joke about it and then try to apologize.
No, he didn't try to apologize. His publicist came up to him after it happened and said, we got to fix this or you're going down for the rest of your life. This is the statement you need to put out there. So he probably didn't even write the thing. His publicist did to try to save it, but it was too late. He would have never said
anything was
sorry on his own.
Right after the slap, there was nothing. There's no coming back.
Anything was too late to the moment he got off the goddamn seat.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean, talk about insult to injury too. It's not just like the joking about it afterwards, anything like that. It's the fact that he slapped him, went all the way back to his seat, and then yelled, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." Like, dude,
first.
we fucking get why you just went up there, dude. Like, we get it, you know.
And he says it twice, because in case you didn't hear me
the
first time, yeah.
Honestly, I think the best reaction, and which was one of like disgust and surprise, but particularly disgust, was Lupita Nyong'o.
She was like, right behind
there.
Him.
She was
now,
right
was
there.
she the one sitting directly behind him?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, the beautiful woman sitting right behind him that you couldn't help but notice. Yeah, I love that woman. I love her.
God. Oh my God, who is she?
Lupita Nyong'o. You don't have you ever seen Us? Oh wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why.
Black Panther.
But yeah, she was like this.
Not just that, she was like.
And Tom Holland's like, yeah, you ain't gonna believe what just happened here.
Yeah,
but,
it was.
Yeah, it's
unbelievable.
Crazy. I mean, if I don't get along with you, Brandon, or Yo-Yo, or John, or Leo, I'm not gonna punch you in the face. I mean, John.
It'd be hard. You're in Vermont.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah. What's your address? I'll send you a slap in the mail.
Hey, I got a best friend doing
motherfucking RW. You would return that.
Like,
let me just put this in an envelope.
What
or it'll just be the pie in the face. You'll get this package and what's this? Open it up to spring with a pie in the face. Yeah, just like that. Right?
Yeah, from Bugs Bunny. Yeah.
sound like a practical joke from the Joker in '89 Batman.
It's crazy because, again, not going back to toys, but going back to the 70s. I grew up with All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, Good Times, Maude, and all these shows, and no one ever got slapped over it. You know? And I mean, now everybody's like freaking out over the stuff that
watch those
nobody
Dean
ever
Martin
freaked out
Celebrity
over.
Rose.
But
Watch the Dean Martin Celebrity Rose.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Dean Martin Celebrity Rose, but like somebody's there to get completely picked on, and the whole time they're like laughing. And again, speaking of laughing, like Yo-Yo already said, he's like, G.I. Jane 2, looking forward to it. Will Smith. Like, seriously,
his wife was sitting there like this.
Like, yeah.
Or whatever. Like I said, I have alopecia. It sucks, but it's not that big a deal. And for everybody out there who, like, this is part of the problem too. For some reason, they think alopecia is cancer related. It is not. It has nothing to do with any life-threatening illness. It just means that
there was some crazy.
And how
rumors
narcissistic do you have to be to think that like everybody knew your shit? Like
Yeah.
just because you put it out there doesn't mean anybody cares.
Yeah, not for nothing. Chris Rock, like he might have had bigger fish to fry than fucking sit around and
comedy tour.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's working.
Yeah.
He's fucking working. Like, I mean, it's kind of funny that like the very first show he did was like right here in Boston. After,
Yeah.
and he was like,
I'm
I'm not.
It was sold out.
Yeah, it was sold out, but I give him credit. Like at the top of the show, he was just like, everyone, I'm not going to talk about what happened. I'm still trying to process it.
And what's funny is somebody
I
said
have my
something
show.
like-
I'm going to perform for you. Let's just have a good time. And that's
And
the right,
somebody's-
that's the right move.
Yeah, and somebody said something like Will Smith's a dick or something, and he's like, "Whoa, no, like fucking,
like, "Whoa."
like how professional can you be? Like,
Not
seriously,
just professional, courteous.
Yes.
Like courteous, man.
No, I'm not pressing charges. Come
Well,
on,
now-
you were assaulted.
And that takes me back to 2008. From a
I didn't
political
mean to hit you,
standpoint.
John. Why do you keep bringing that up?
Because you keep getting me. But I remember when John McCain was at one of his debates, and one of the people asked a question about Barack Obama
Woman.
being Muslim. Yeah, Muslim. Yeah, that's exactly right. And John McCain stopped it right there. He said, "No, we're not going to go here."
No,
those aren't his exact words. but it was-
not only that, it wasn't just we're not going to go here. He put it down. He said, "No, he is a family man. He is a Christian man, and
He
he
might
cares.
have some idealists, like some differences.
Exactly. He
but
said we might not agree on certain things,
but
politically,
he ain't talking about it like that.
But I respect him, and we are not going to start disparaging him just because he is my opponent. Let's talk about the issues." And
You need more
like,
politicians
That's
like him.
exactly
Like, he
like,
would be missed.
honestly. If it weren't for Sarah Palin being made his running mate, he may have won. He may have won, but it was exactly the right move. That's exactly what somebody with class
Integrity
does, and integrity does. And
Respect.
that's a great example of how to handle a situation such as that.
And there was even a rumor to go back even just quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
2004, there was that rumor floating around when John Kerry was running that he was going to choose John McCain to be his running mate. There was a strong rumor that the two of them were going to team up, and it was going to be a bi-party ticket to go up against Cheney and Bush. I still wonder about what would happen. And it's just like with Jerry Ford. Jerry Ford was going to be Ronald Reagan's running mate right up to the very last minute at the Republican National Convention in 1980.
Oh yeah.
So but with John McCain being a pillar of class that he was, like Yo-Yo, I think Yo-Yo, you just said that kind of political partisan person is missed these days, or in general, just in general.
Yeah. Respect in general is just
respect.
There's no respect anymore.
And here's the thing: there are people that might hear you say that and think like, "Oh, well, what about the disrespect that Chris Rock showed Jada Pinkett Smith?" Once again, he's a comedian, and the point that we haven't really hit upon primarily is as a performer there and making people laugh. As a comedian, like when I did stand up, one of the first things I learned before I set foot on stage, because I was obsessed with reading books by comedians and watching any interviews with them or anything like that, is something that I kind of already innately knew. And that is, as a comedian, a good comedian, you should never, ever bully someone. And bullying means punching down. You never make fun of the people who are downtrodden. You make fun of the people who are doing well. You stick it to power. That's what's funny, because most of us are on that lower level. So we can all laugh together at this thing you're saying, this ridiculous thing you're saying about somebody on this upper echelon. Well, everybody at the fucking Academy Awards is upper echelon. That's the time where you take those tiny digs. And I mean, when we're talking about digs, like that's not that bad. It's really not.
I mean, he even could have been saying, like, and you're saying that he didn't know that she had that thing that I can't say because I don't know how to say it or whatever. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But maybe he was saying, can't wait to see G.I. Jane 2. Maybe he was saying you'd be perfect in this role if they make a G.I. Jane 2.
It was an innocuous comment. And
yeah.
Either way,
And then what's funny is recently they were interviewing Mel Gibson, and
Oh, I know on Fox News. That's
His
listen,
handler. Oh,
hats,
man.
hats off to his,
Should
hats
be-
off to his fucking.
Get a
agent
raise,
and
get a
whatnot.
raise.
He's like,
Yeah,
it's like,
but you know something? Hey, you know something? Before she even stepped in, right? Before she even
He
stepped in,
was like-
I will give him this much credit. He's just like you were doing, yo. He was like,
the most uncomfortable
You-
smile I've
no,
ever seen.
what-
Though he's like
but,
this.
But that's the thing. He was smart because it might have been an uncomfortable smile with like a little bit of a, but he knew enough to not give them the soundbite that they were looking for.
Yeah.
Because that's all it was. They wanted to say, Mel Gibson says, and for her to jump in and be like, oh, we're out of time. Okay, see you
And-
later.
and-
Nope,
and
we're out of
that was-
time. We're out of time.
Well,
we're out of time.
And
To
speaking
go back
of,
to 1990, 2000, was it 99 or 2000? Same similar situation. Tom Selleck's on Rosie O'Donnell.
oh, Tom Selleck, yeah.
Yeah, and this was after Columbine, and Tom had a pre-meeting with Rosie, and she made the promise to him, I won't bring up Columbine, I won't bring up the NRA, nothing like that. Tom Selleck sitting out there talking with Rosie, all of a sudden brings up the NRA, brings up Columbine, and he said, I really don't want to talk about this right now. And so you have it, and it's on YouTube. You can fact check me just to make sure I've got it right. But yeah, she hijacked him.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, she
And
definitely
what's
did.
just get on a more even sadder note, Bruce Willis.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, I mean, seriously, I mean that guy has given us some good stuff, and I know he probably could have given us some more good stuff, but like that,
He's been making movies left and
That's
right.
why, though. That's
Yeah,
why he was
exactly.
clearly doing it to make sure that his family was going to be taken care of once he had to get to the point where he'd stop. Hearing from reading some of the stuff from people he worked with over the past 2 years. I mean, he had like it was something like 100 credits to his name, like up until about 2 years ago, and in the past 2 years, he's made 22 movies.
Wow.
And I mean, talk about ramping up the number of productions. I mean, he made more than a fifth of the total number of movies he had already had done in a finite amount of time. You know, like that is like such a fraction of the time that he's had a career, and that is just insane.
Yeah.
But to hear from the people that worked on these things with him, you know, they were saying in one instance, one of the very last ones he did, he was on set and he turned to a couple of the different people and he legitimately didn't know why he was there. Like he literally said, he's like, I know why you're here and I know why you're here, but I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? And they had to take his scenes, which were set to shoot for like 2 weeks, and condense them down into like 1.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. They had to just get rid of a lot of the dialogue and stuff like that. There was one instance, I can't remember which movie it was, but he was supposed to be shooting a gun, and it was the actor or actress that he was acting against in the scene. She was supposed to say a line, and then he was supposed to shoot the gun, and she kept reaching a point where she was about to say the line, and then he'd shoot the gun, and no one was ready for it, and he did it like 4 times in a row. And by the time like it was done, like her and a couple other people like, what is going on? Like there's something up. And so many of the people there, they like, all right, we'll tell you what's happening with Bruce, but like you got to keep it on the down low. Like he's just trying to like get his nut in his nest egg so his family's taken care of. Like just please don't say anything. And to a lot of people's credit, they didn't. Like everybody kept quiet. Hey, it's Steve. They kept quiet on it, and they did what they could to help Bruce Willis retire with dignity instead of it being like a big like brouhaha / scandal. So to all those folks that were working with him, like my hat's off to them because they all understood that they needed to protect this guy who was clearly sick but still trying to do the right thing for his wife and kids. You know, like there's a lot of nobility to that.
I do
how much
like
of it was him
after
trying to do
lately.
the right thing by his wife and kids, and how much of it was just trying to like enjoy something he loved doing while
Before
he still
couldn't
could.
do it anymore. Yeah.
I think that might have been part of it, but I do think the larger part was just trying to make sure that everything was set once he.
No
couldn't
offense, if he's
provide
already
more.
made 100 movies, I think he's probably got enough money. But that's the there wasn't.
Yeah, but you have to understand, like there's property taxes.
No,
and
yeah, I hear you.
He has young kids still that will end up needing to go to school once they get older. I mean, there's a lot of things that he needs to consider that he's not going to be able to do anything more to provide for them, 15 years from now.
There's a interview with Elvis back in the 70s, and one of the reporters says, do you feel like do you feel like people should be drafted like you were drafted? And if you were drafted again right now, would you go into the army? And he goes, I'm an entertainer, and I care not to answer that right now. And she says, do you think all entertainers should not answer? And he goes, no, or whatever. So they were trying to railroad him into saying something, and he was smart enough to go, I'm just not going to answer, sort of like the whole Tom Selleck thing. They want that thing that said Elvis Presley said that the draft is bad, or wanted to get him to say something.
Real quick, and just as a quick aside, I just had my wife watch the movie Bye Bye Birdie for the first time in her life over this past weekend, and I had to explain to her how it was supposed to be sort of a parodied look at when Elvis was drafted. And I don't know if you saw, but Bobby Rydell, the guy who played Hugo in the movie, Kim McAfee's boyfriend, that's Anne Margaret, her character, he just passed away.
Yeah. Now, isn't Bye Bye Birdie the one with Dick Van Dyke?
Dick Van Dyke, Janet Leigh, and
it's funny. I've never seen this movie.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Yeah,
man.
no, I know. It's
Ed Sullivan shows up in it too.
Silly question. Rydell High in Greece, wasn't that named for Bobby Rydell?
No, I think it was actually. Yeah, I believe Rydell High was named for him.
I mean, I'm the least Grease fan here, but I was just curious if I was on the right track for that.
He doesn't even use grease to cook his chicken. That's how anti-grease he is.
Yeah, they did name Rydell High after Bobby Rydell, who I said this to my wife while we were watching it, and she laughed hysterically once she noticed it. My dad, when I was a kid, said to me while we were watching, he was like, pay attention whenever Hugo sings, Brandon. I was like, why? He goes, because every time he opens his mouth to sing, he looks like he's constipated. And sure enough, he fucking does, dude.
Who does? Dick Van Dyke?
Bobby Rydell,
Bobby
dude.
Rydell.
He looks like he is having some gastrointestinal stress. It's hysterical.
Well, that's how Bon Jovi sounds when he sings, and I love Bon Jovi to death. But he's like, Tommy used to walk on the
could be worse. You could sound like he has a fucking hernia like Bruce Springsteen.
And by the way, you use a little bit of oil and everything but the bagel seasoning for chicken. That's all you need. All you need.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Oh, totally. I know we're running really late. I just wanted to bring up one last thing.
Yep.
Ezra Miller, what the fuck are we gonna do?
Okay, listen. A lot of people are saying like, "Oh, he this, that, and the other thing." All right. My take on it is this: Ezra Miller clearly has a little bit of a problem with alcohol, and he has some issues with being around large groups of people and controlling himself. I do think that Ezra Miller likely has some mental health issues, as well as the aforementioned alcohol dependency issue. I believe that those have been problems longer than any of us might realize. I feel like he probably should be seeing a professional for help regularly.
My two questions after you're done. Sorry.
No. It's just, I'm getting more of a, this guy probably needs to get help because the next person that he's going to hurt is likely himself.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on purpose, but it's going to happen. And that should be pause. That should be like cause for concern for a lot of folks. If that means he needs to take time away from being the Flash for a little while and all this jazz, then so be it, but
it sounds like he is, because they're having an emergency meeting.
Well, an emergency meeting doesn't mean that they're gonna give him the stanky boot. An emergency meeting could very well mean
how do we
that
damage control this?
Yeah,
not just damage control, but also exactly what I just said. They're like, hey, this kid seems to have like real serious issues. We need to get this kid help, because regardless of what a lot of people think, like Ezra Miller is a talented performer, and they don't want to lose talented performers in Hollywood. They themselves have sent so many people to rehab and all that jazz. If it weren't for the fact that people in Hollywood still continued to have faith in Robert Downey Jr., he wouldn't be who he is today. I mean, the first person that gave him a shot when he finally got clean and sober, do you know who that was?
The guy from Elf.
Will Ferrell.
Nah.
Or John Favreau. Sorry.
No, not Jon Favreau, because Robert Downey Jr.'s re-arrival was before Iron Man. He had to do dribs and drabs to get back there. The first starring role he had since he got sober was The Singing Detective, directed by Mel Gibson for Showtime.
Oh, wow.
Mel Gibson is the one that said, I want Bobby in this movie. And he fought for him to be in it. And it was really good and a really good take on the story, The Singing Detective. And that's when people started to realize, like, oh, maybe Robert Downey Jr. is back and he actually is pretty good. And not too much longer after that, you saw him in Iron Man, directly followed by Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So you had Mel Gibson, Jon Favreau, and Shane Black. Bing, bang, boom.
So
here we are.
So three things now, because the first thing is with this Ezra Miller, whatever. Do we need to call Will Smith to have him slap him? Is that what we need to do? And second, who the hell is this guy? And third, I saw a blurb that said Vermont native Ezra Miller. Where the hell is he from Vermont? So who is he?
I'm gonna guess somewhere in the state. Do you know everyone in Vermont? Or?
Who is he, and where in fucking why is he connected to Vermont? So do we know?
Everybody has to be born somewhere.
So he plays the Flash.
So he's
the
currently
movie,
in the DC expanded universe. He plays the Flash.
Okay.
So he played the Flash in Batman versus Superman, Justice League,
Peacemaker.
And he's from New Jersey, not Vermont.
Yeah.
Like I said,
also too, isn't there
might have been one of those
upcoming merger right
five
now?
roles there. I really don't care for Batman versus.
It might have been those clickbaits because it's like the greatest pizza restaurant in the world is in Springfield, Vermont. And you click on it and it's not fucking, it just makes you go there. But the thing said, it was like, I don't know if it was CNN or some reputable place, said Vermont native or something. Ezra Miller.
He's right here, born and raised in Wyckoff, New Jersey.
Yeah, so that's weird. I don't
He's a
know why I
Jewish
would
kid from
say
Jersey.
that.
Also, too, isn't there an upcoming merger between AT&T and Time Warner?
No, that already happened.
That already happened. Okay.
What you're thinking about is Discovery and Warner Brothers.
Discovery and Warner. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
AT&T sold off Warner Brothers to
Okay.
Discovery, and that's the merger that's occurring because
And-
AT&T absorbed Time Warner, which was already a fucking nightmare because of the whole Warner Brothers AOL merger that had occurred. So they wanted, and AT&T just like they were shitting money left and right with Warner Brothers. They just had no idea what to do with it, and so they were finally able to offload it smartly to another entertainment company. That's the real problem that's occurred with Warner Brothers over the past 20 years. Is it's been all these other types of companies that have taken in, merged, and absorbed. AOL and AT&T. What the fuck? Okay, what are you communications people doing here? Like, can we get somebody that knows how to fucking run a goddamn movie studio or something? That would be nice.
Welcome. You've got mail.
Exactly. Well, that's why I was wondering because that naturally you got that merger, and thank you for setting me straight on that.
No problem.
But that provides negative press. Would you want to merge with somebody and you got one of your top actors acting like acting out of control? In films that have brought in a lot of revenue for you. So
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Are we
That's
sure
why I'm saying,
AT&T's deal's gone through already?
Oh yeah, it was approved.
It being approved and it actually
yeah, it's
being
going through.
finished.
They're in the process right now.
HBO was included in that, right?
Yes,
Yep.
they're in the process of purging redundant positions at Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah,
So-
matter of fact, the guy head of all the programming for Discovery, all the live, all the reality shows, that guy is going to be heading HBO.
Yeah, the gentleman who was doing all the Jason Killar, he has already begun his exit.
Kind of the same with Sony. They're purging positions too.
Yeah, well, that's because they're sort of the same thing. Like they don't know what the fuck they're doing movie wise. Like Sony, so let me put it this way: like Sony back when they first like started in America, I can't remember what movie it was. But
John?
it came. It's opening weekend. And it wasn't at the point in time that it happened. Its opening weekend, it made like $30 million, which was a really good weekend for whatever the movie was. And the Japanese Sony execs were so unfamiliar with the movie industry, particularly in North America, that they actually asked the American people working with and for them if that was good. Like for them to be there to run a movie studio and then say like, oh, we made this money. Is that a good amount? What? How did you not do any kind of research for this before you? And because it was just about buying a thing. And that's what these other companies were doing. It was about buying and having a thing. That's all it was. I think
it was also a way for them to offload some of their cameras and their screens.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely looking at cross promotion and integration by having their stuff show up in the movies they make and what have you. But
this says Open Season was Sony's first movie.
I'm not even talking about like them just
sounds
like
right,
showing
too.
up in the movies, like because they make the mastering monitors that Hollywood use, they make the cameras they use. Like
that's true.
The
Yeah,
best sensors and like monitors come from them. So I mean, there's just another place for them to sell it and then write it off. So
is it even called Columbia Pictures anymore?
It's Sony Columbia. But they do still use the Columbia Pictures moniker because
for Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Well, and for a lot of them.
I know, but I'm saying even what sucks is when
even Men in Black is a Columbia picture. But
yeah,
what happened to TriStar?
When a company buys another company and they absorb them, like TriStar, let's say, they're like, well, we own it now. We don't really need to use the TriStar thing, so we'll just get rid of TriStar. And Orion was a Warner Brothers subsidiary, and it's like you don't see Orion anymore. So it's sad that when somebody buys a company like United Artists, they're like, we don't really need the United Artists thing anymore. We'll just get rid of it altogether.
Actually, Orion's back.
Is it really?
Yeah, it blew me away. I believe it was The Invisible Man that I was watching by Blumhouse, and at the very beginning,
it was Upgrade. It came back.
All right,
Was it Upgrade? Okay.
Yeah.
What's his face with the 3-part name, last name Green?
Logan Marshall Green.
Logan Marshall. Yeah, I freaking love that guy. Like the first thing I
As
saw,
I like to think of Upgrade, the better version of Venom.
I'm like, I like this guy. He's gonna be like my new favorite guy next to Jeff Bridges and Kurt Russell.
Yeah, he's all right. But the thing is, like, with what's happening with Ezra Miller, it's as simple as this. I don't think that they're going to try to give him the boot or anything. They're going to try to get him help and hopefully make it so that it's really being taken seriously, because he is a name that they have been pinning a lot on. He's like the centerpiece of their most recent Harry Potter franchise, Fantastic Beasts. He is going to be right there front and center for The Flash, which is going to help and reset a lot of the issues that occurred because of Zack Snyder's movies.
Batfleck's back.
Oh, please.
No.
Don't you fucking start with me, Leo. I swear to God. No. I will grab an envelope and mail you a slap so fast it'll make your head.
Hey, you should mail me one.
That makes
too.
two of us.
You should mail me one, Brandon.
Thwap.
Yes, because I heard before this whole thing went down that Ezra Miller was going to be in the Rogue 2 sequel.
I will fucking murder you. I swear to Christ. But yeah,
and Rogue 2 is going to take place on Tatooine.
See, this is what happens when I just hop in for like the last part of the show.
You all
everything
suck.
Goes to hell.
Fucking hate that shit so much. Fucking hate it.
Oh God!
I think I'm like the
Well,
glue that holds everything.
Yeah.
You
shit,
hate
dude.
sand. It gets everywhere.
I just I hate sand as much as Anakin Skywalker, and for similar reasons.
Have you seen
This
Dune yet?
Tatooine sucks. Yeah, I've seen Dune. That's
Because there's
fine.
sand in that one.
That's fine because it's not fucking Tatooine. I hate.
For
Do you
the
ever play
record,
Minecraft, Brandon?
What was
Do you
that?
ever play Minecraft?
No.
Because somebody told me it's a sandbox game.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's not. Yeah.
for the record,
just-
Dune deserved every Academy Award it won.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. I Doom was great, and I'm glad that they're gonna continue on and actually like gonna be able to end the story. But fuck Tatooine. That's my point. Fuck Tatooine. I cannot stand that stupid fucking planet.
John, you just met him. Don't piss him off. He won't ever want to be.
No, it's
on
fine. Listen, it's fine if he shows me pictures of the original trilogy and any of the movies or whatever.
It's just
revisiting.
revisiting.
I'll give fucking J.J. Abrams this much credit. He didn't have Rey on Tatooine. It was a different fucking planet. And they didn't even have anything big like Mos Eisley there. It was a fucking straight up scavenger planet. And I'll buy that. Not a problem. But when you have everyone going back to Tatooine and they show so many other different places or mention so many other different places throughout the entirety of Star Wars, not just the movies proper, but the different shows and everything that's now considered canon, there's no good reason to keep going back. The well is as dry as the desert on fucking Tatooine.
What's funny to me is George Lucas came up with all these names, and when Leia told Tarkin what planet it was on, she said they're on Dantooine. So Dantooine and Tatooine, you couldn't come up with some other fucking planet name that doesn't sound like fucking Tatooine?
Well, I mean, maybe there were people from like one place that went and kind of settled in those two different planets.
So
actually, it was her first boyfriend that cheated on her. He lives on Dantooine.
He is Dantooine. His name is Dantooine.
I'm
Back
sorry.
when
we-
Leia
she
and
married
Granny
Paul
were
Simon?
dating.
Is that why she married Paul Simon?
I know we got derailed, and hopefully you can remember, Brandon. What was the initial topic you were trying to discuss?
Ezra Miller.
Yes.
Ezra Miller. He is front and center and very important to a lot of the stuff that they're planning on doing, particularly on the DC film side of things. The Flash is going to be a linchpin for everything that happens after it. So I don't think that they are going to just cut and run with him, and that's not a Flash pun. They are really going to have to make sure that he is going to be okay to continue working. They probably, people probably in his life around him, they probably should have stepped in sooner, but he might be surrounded by yes men and women as well. I can't speak to that. All I know is no one should have to deal with the things that he did, whether it was threats or whatever. And he himself should be able to sit down with someone and be able to figure out why he is doing these things that are incredibly destructive to himself and others. Like I said, if we are able to give Robert Downey Jr. another chance, and when I say another chance, I mean that was like his fourth chance, then I think we can do the same for Ezra Miller. I do think that there's some substance abuse and mental health issues that are there that have not necessarily come to light, and I don't think they necessarily should. And I hope that everybody involved with the situation, all together on both sides of it, Ezra Miller and the people that are making decisions based on his business, and the people that were affected by his words and actions. I hope everybody is able to move on from it and be okay. And that's not me being concerned about comic book movies or anything like that. It just really sucks to see anybody go through that shit. Like, I think Mel Gibson is a piece of shit, but at the same time, I feel bad that the guy fucking like clearly had some kind of goddamn break, and he has no filter, and he has let us know exactly how fucking shitty he is. That doesn't mean I want to see stuff with him in it or by him, but like, dude, get better and shut your mouth and just go away. Okay. Like that's fine. Go do your thing. And we don't want to think about you anymore. So I don't bear any ill will towards anyone. I don't want to see anybody hurt or anything like that. But if you are doing things that are detrimental to other people and then yourself, there's not going to be space for you. There's some things that you can come back from, and other things, no, definitely not. You can't come, as far as I'm concerned, you can't come back from the things that Mel Gibson has said. I was drunk. He was really drunk. Okay, well, let me introduce you to a fun little Latin saying: in vino veritas. In wine, there is truth. Alcohol lowers your inhibitions, which means that you're not going to think twice about saying the fucking stupid shit that's in your head. And that's likely exactly what you're thinking at that moment in time. Ezra Miller, if he was shouting, threatening things at people, and he was like throwing stuff, all right, what happened? Like, why did he do that? What got it to that point? Did anybody seriously get hurt? That should be like the first thing, the most important part. If no one's hurt, okay, now let's look at what the cause is.
Yeah, could have been somebody harassing him. We don't know the full story.
We don't know.
Flash mob.
Oh boy, that was good, Steve. Can we get a womp womp on that one?
That's it.
Fuck that noise.
So
that was good too.
Supposedly, though, Lethal Weapon 5. And after seeing Mel Gibson in that interview where they said, "Hey, how do you feel about that thing?" and he went like this, I'm like, really? You're going to be in Lethal Weapon 5? Like, it just doesn't seem like it'll this cat. That's awesome.
Listen, Mel Gibson has showed himself, as far as I'm concerned, to be an unwavering, opinionated racist.
Yeah.
I can't get behind that. Like I said, I'll give him credit for how he handled himself at the end of that interview, but that's not saying like, hey, all right, Mel Gibson, he's back, baby, he's the man again. No,
right.
No. And it's hard for me to go back and watch some of the things that I truly enjoyed with him in it, but I can still separate it from now. Especially when I watch Lethal Weapon and I hear how shitty he does with an American accent in any of those movies. It's fucking hilarious. Like, he drops his fucking American accent so much in those movies. It's great. But, I had my wife watch Maverick based off the James Garner television show about a year ago, the first time she'd ever seen it. And it was really fun to watch. He's working together with Richard Donner again. That's where he became friends with Jodie Foster. Danny Glover has a small cameo in the movie. Margot Kidder shows up in it as well. I mean, it's like there's like a who's who of previous Donner movies in Maverick.
Brandon, if I'm not mistaken, he's the son of Brett Maverick, right?
That is correct,
James Garner's his father.
Hey, if anybody here hasn't seen Maverick,
Yo-Yo's got his hand up.
What's up?
Yo-Yo? Wasn't Chris Rock in one of the Lethal Weapon movies?
Yeah.
Number 4.
Yeah.
Yep. He was in part 4. He played Danny Glover's daughter's fiance.
Yeah.
It's like, hold on.
And Mel thought he was gay because he kept like going, here, let me get you coffee. And he thought that he was trying to like hit on him or something, but he was trying to suck up to him because his daughter was pregnant with his kid. Then they get the freaking helium stuff or laughing gas or whatever in the dentist's office or whatever. Oh my God.
Nice, you plick.
There were 2 movies that he did recently that actually were pretty good. There was some sci-fi time travel one, which he showed up for like 10 minutes at the end.
Mel Gibson or Chris Rock?
Mel Gibson.
Okay.
And it had one of the bad guys from Civil War. I forgot his name. It was a Hulu original, but it was a kick-ass movie. It was like
The Civil War was so long ago.
Frank Grillo.
Yes, Frank
I was
Grillo.
going to say Frank Grillo, the guy who played Crossbones.
Yep. He's the hero in it, and it's it's a sci-fi version of
So it was the minor villain in Civil War because the major villain.
I said a villain.
John's got his hand up. He might have the answer.
Well, I don't have the answer, but I got a question because you brought up the laughing gas scene in Lethal Weapon. The gentleman who played the dentist, who was responsible for gassing him, wasn't that Kim Chan who played the Eggman in the sci-fi romance series Now and Again with starred John Goodman? He was he had his mind transplanted into the body of Eric Close. It was a super
Brandon's like, I don't know. Let me see.
I have no idea.
No idea.
Okay. And Kim Chan was also, I believe, the ancient one on Kung Fu: The Next Generation. Kung Fu: The Legend Continues.
Oh my god, that fucking show! I
love that show.
That show made me watch Kung Fu. I wanted to know what came before because when I started watching it was syndicated. I was like, The Legend Continues.
From what?
That sounds like a sequel. And my dad was like, yeah, stupid. That's because it is. I was like, what? It was like you could watch Kung Fu: The Legend Continues followed by Renegade.
And Babylon 5. They're all part of that network that Warner Brothers was launching back at I think January of 93 is when it started.
It was also around that time. I remember watching on the same channel, Highlander, the series.
Oh my god, I love that series.
The entirety of that series is on Hulu right now.
Yeah.
And I also bought it like a year ago.
Oh, nice.
That series was so much better than the movies, man. It really was. I love Duncan.
Speaking of Kung Fu, Brandon, since you enjoyed that, did you ever watch Warrior?
I have not. I have not watched it yet. I know, but it is on my list.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kung Fu, Brandon, did you know that the guy who... Never mind.
Okay.
I mean, I do know that I mean, he wasn't the dentist. He was like one of their CIs, and he was seeing the dentist when they approached him. But I know that he was the guy in the floating Chinese restaurant in The Fifth Element that made the bet with Corbin Dallas that it was good news that he was getting in the pipeline.
But wasn't Steve Martin the dentist and there was a big plant? And
that was
that was Little Shop of
Rocky
Horrors.
Horror Picture Show.
He'll be a dentist.
When I was younger, just a tad little kid, my mama noticed funny things I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, all said and done, we'll see what happens with Ezra Miller. They're gonna be whatever the decision they come to is. There will be people who are happy about it and people who are pissed off about it. We will be here to talk about it either way.
Oh yeah, and we know Steven's gonna shit on DC.
You goddamn right.
They look like they have some really good stuff coming down the pipeline. So
DC has been on an awesome streak ever since Shazam, or actually Aquaman.
Aquaman.
Yeah,
they've been on a shit streak, except for the Batman. The Batman was.
Oh, no. Hold on, wait. What do you mean they've been on a shit streak except for no? Like legitimately, I want to know what you mean by that. No. Aquaman made over $1 billion.
Doesn't mean it was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
Exactly.
It was a good movie.
Aquaman was great.
Yeah, dude. Aquaman was one of the lamest fucking characters in the entirety of the Justice League of America.
It was a turd in the fishbowl.
Yeah, that whole movie was wicked fishy.
They made a movie with Jason Momoa that made over $1 billion. You don't get a movie that makes over $1 billion and have it be absolutely fucking abysmal. All right, like that doesn't happen
because you don't make that in 1 week. That was
people. It was a complete
going to say like, hey, this was actually good.
It was a what?
It was a CGI splooge fest.
Okay, so was Avatar. And that copied every sci-fi movie and story that came before it. I remember the first time I saw Avatar when it was called Fern Gully, and also the first time I heard about it when it was called A Warlord of Mars, written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's check out John Carter. It's the same exact story. There's
Yeah,
nothing new
Rose
under the
saved
sun.
for Cameron for
To
that
say,
one.
to say like, oh, it's a CGI splooge fest. Okay, but like there are other movies that have come out that have made just
Dance
as
with
much
the
money,
Wolves.
if not more. And why isn't that talked about in the same way? It's easy to shit on DC though, right? So anyway, like I was saying, Shazam,
I've never
which
been to
actually
DC.
Shazam was fucking awesome.
Detective
Shazam
Comics
was awesome.
was that movie was made for $90 million. And it made over 350 in the box office. That's fucking huge. All right. And considering the fact that DC at that point in time was suffering from all the shit that occurred in the Snyder films, it's amazing that they were able to have enough goodwill from Aquaman to such a different character like Shazam, which was built for families to be able to see. And they made that money. Then you move on. I feel like there was some weirdness going on with Birds of Prey, but there were a lot of people who liked it, and it was successful. The Suicide Squad critically lauded,
Oh my god.
and
Suicide
and
Squad
one
was
of
the
one
second
of
one.
the
Yeah.
one of the biggest hits for HBO Max.
Yep.
Peacemaker.
Holy shit.
Fucking everybody fucking loves it. I have not spoken to a person that hates that show. It's incredible. I knew who Peacemaker was before the Suicide Squad. When they announced it, I was like, really? He's busting out Charlton characters for this. Okay. Like that's Steve Ditko, guys, the guy who created Spider-Man. He's the one who created the characters that Watchmen were pastiches of. Peacemaker is the comedian in Watchmen. All right. That was James Gunn taking a fifth tier character and making a good story with great actors, and that's it. And that's all you need. Now, moving forward, we see that they've been making the correct moves with other writers and directors. The Batman was incredible.
Oh my god, Batman.
It was so good. It's the best Batman movie I've ever seen.
Yep.
All right. And I'm very happy with it. And that's saying something for me because I don't like Batman movies. Now we're going to move forward. The Flash looks like it's going to be incredible. I think League of Super Pets looks adorable and funny.
it does.
And I think it's a great idea for little kids to have something that they can go see without any issues whatsoever. And past that, what else are we looking at? I mean,
Nothing.
Oh, you got Aquaman 2.
you got Aquaman
out.
and a Black Adam. Black Adam.
Adam.
That looks like it's going to be fucking pretty intense. I mean, we saw him fucking completely atomize a guy in the like 30-second preview they showed. And that's just what they decided to show for the public. What's going to be in the movie? Not to mention the fact Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate. All right, let me check that shit out.
That's good casting in my opinion.
I get saying that like the stuff that they had when it was geared
new
towards
Shazam.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fury of the Gods.
Yep.
By David F. Sandberg.
Batgirl just finished
On HBO Max. Yep. You know, like they have a lot of stuff coming up, but like I understand saying like Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and Justice League that they were lackluster
Directionless.
and just awful clusterfucks. I get it, and I completely agree with that assessment. But to say that these other things that have come out have just been absolute fucking shit, I mean, I don't know what you're looking for. If that's the case, like other than just a reason to shit on DC and Warner Brothers. Like, I love Marvel movies, and I love the DC characters in a good amount of the movies that we've gotten and are hopefully going to get. But like, I never look at something and go like, oh, this is gonna suck. If you walk in with that expectation, then you are likely going to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm just curious, like how are those things that were successes both critically and with audiences shit?
See, I don't look at it like that.
That's why I'm asking.
I go into the movie expecting what to expect with enjoyment or disappointment. With Aquaman, I was disappointed because I don't read comic books. I have like one or two comic books in my entire life. I don't have a closet full of comic books.
Okay.
So I don't know two shits about Aquaman. Okay. So I was lost. Okay. Batman versus Superman. 1 tickets to the New York City premiere.
Wait, hold on. Why were you lost? I'm asking because like you're saying I don't read comic books and I don't have them. I don't really have them, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But like, do you like Marvel movies?
Yeah. I mean, I like any type of movie. It's
Well,
just
hold on. But you were citing your lack of comic knowledge as the reason why you didn't like Aquaman. But if that's the case, why did you like the Marvel movies?
I find Marvel more entertaining than DC. Because Marvel, I'm more invested than DC. Because with the past few DC movies, now I'm not, like I said, I go into a movie not expecting anything. I'm either amused, I enjoy it, or I don't enjoy it. I don't go in there preparing to be miserable, like you said.
Yeah.
I go in there.
I didn't say you did.
No.
I'm saying if you expect to be disappointed.
No.
The you, I think I don't mean.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me
you.
rephrase.
The you as
if
in
one goes in and expects to be disappointed, then one might find themselves disappointed.
Yeah. No.
But
I go.
What I'm curious about in particular, Steve, is that you cited not reading comics and lack of comic knowledge and being lost because of that while watching Aquaman, and I'm just a little confused about what it was that you were lost on. Like just for that particular project, I'm just because I feel like because like my wife, she doesn't know shit about Aquaman, and I didn't give her a rundown beforehand or anything like that, and we went to go see it together, and she really liked the movie.
I was
Jason
lost.
Momoa.
What?
No, my wife's not. She's not like.
No,
she's not like that.
No. I want to know what RW said.
I said Jason Momoa because he said his wife.
He was implying
really
that my
liked the
wife
movie.
liked Aquaman because Jason Momoa shows his abs in it. I have abs too. It's just like one, and it's really bad.
I have the floor now. Let me answer. I didn't like the fact, and I've only seen it once, and that was in the theater. I didn't like it. That's all. I just didn't like the CGI. I didn't like the acting. I didn't like it. Just I was lost by it.
And that's fine if you don't like those things. I was only asking particularly about the comment you made about being lost. Like that's because I felt like they actually did a pretty good job of explaining how he ended up with his dad and why he.
It was 4 years ago. I can't really remember. I don't plan on watching.
Okay, I mean, I was going based on what you said. That's all. All right, but okay, so you didn't like the CGI and you just didn't care for it. Okay, but like for you to sit there and say their shit as an absolute, like I don't know if you've noticed, but I always say like I didn't like it, I don't like it, or I liked it. I can't speak for anybody else. To make a ubiquitous, all-encompassing statement, I don't know that that's necessarily fair. It's great if you like something. It's great if you don't like something. You have your reasons. Anybody has their reasons. One has their reasons. Not a problem. But I certainly, like, for example, I did not like the movie Captain Marvel. And that was not, and I know a lot of fucking misogynists out there really come down on Brie Larson and stuff. And for me, it's not about that. I know she's a good actress. I don't think she was given a good role to play in that movie. I don't think she was given a lot with that script. I blame the people who wrote it and the people who directed it. My wife was much more angry at that film than I was when we left the theater. She was pissed because she actually felt like the people who were making it, the filmmakers themselves, they were pandering, and she felt that everything that was on screen in front of her was condescending to her. The thing that made her almost seriously get up and leave the theater was towards the end of the movie when she starts kicking the shit out of people on the ship and they start playing I'm Just a Girl or Just a Girl by No Doubt. We walked out of the theater. As soon as we like hit outside the concrete, she like went off. And my wife is a very, very like even tempered person. And she was just like, fuck this movie and fuck everyone who made it. And I was like, whoa. You need to explain some stuff to me. And she was like, "Why did they play that song?" I was like, "Because it was the 90s, I guess." And she was like, "It had nothing to do with anything. No one was telling her she couldn't do anything because she was a woman. That was not even a question at all within the context of the story. So why use that song?" They did it to try to get all of us girls in the audience to be like, "Yeah, girl power." And I'm not going to do that because that bitch sucked. Okay, Dara, let's get you some tacos or something. We'll calm you down.
What's your wife's name, Brandon?
Dara.
Daryl? Good for her. I hated the movie too.
Let me steer away from DC and Marvel and give you another example. All right. We just reviewed a movie this week called Cutthroat Island. I don't know if any of you have seen that movie.
Rennie Harlan and fucking Gina Davis. Fuck that movie because it fucking destroyed one of my all-time favorite movies.
Not fuck that movie because number one, and we've said it this week, I don't know what anyone's issue is with that movie. Yes, it bankrupted a studio. Yes, the acting isn't Oscar worthy. But before you bash it, give it a chance because
No, I've watched it. It's goofy fun. The reason I'm saying fuck it, like exactly what I was saying is because of it bankrupting and not doing well.
It's enjoyable.
No one went to go see The Long Kiss Goodnight.
But
I love that movie.
Fuck the movie. That's pot calling the kettle black, kind of.
It's not, because I just gave you the exact reason why I said it. And I also said I don't dislike it. I said it's fun. It's goofy fun. But fuck that movie because it destroyed one of my all-time favorites, which is actually a good movie. The Long Kiss Goodnight, written by Shane Black, but directed by Rennie Harlan and starring Gina Davis. It was the very next movie they did after Cutthroat Island. And because of the box office poison that Cutthroat Island was considered, no one really gave Long Kiss Goodnight a chance. And it's fucking good. Samuel Jackson's in it.
Yeah.
Brian Cox is in it. David Morse is in it. It's the fact that she plays such a badass in it. I don't know why Samantha Cain / Charlie Baltimore isn't on lists of the most badass female protagonists more often. Like, she should be right up there with like fucking Sarah Connor and Ripley.
Dude, she was in a movie called The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yes, very good, RW. I'm glad that you can follow the thread.
The weird thing here is I've never heard of this
RW.
Cutthroat Island. I've seen and I do like Longest Goodnight, but I've never heard of
you never saw Cutthroat Island?
Nope.
Oh,
I have no clue what you're talking about.
Check it out, Yo-Yo. It's seriously, it's goofy fun. It's a pirate movie.
Yo-Yo, give it a chance. It predates Pirates of the Caribbean 2004, and it's like note for note for Pirates of the Caribbean 2004.
It's cheeky. It's cheeky.
12
man.
years
It's
after
good.
Pirates of Penzance, and yeah, go ahead, John.
Well, help an old guy out. Because I'm old and my memory doesn't work as well as it used to. Weren't Rennie Harlan and Gina Davis?
They were married.
They were married, and didn't that result in? Wasn't that one of the reasons that the Hollywood blamed for their divorce was that Cutthroat Island didn't do well? And
yes.
Okay, I just curious if I.
It was like a 3-2 punch. It was that the studio Carolco invested so much into it, and it did so bad that it bankrupted Carolco. Lest we forget, they brought us T2, the Rambo movies, the first 3, Total Recall.
That was James Cameron's production company, wasn't it?
Yep.
Carolco? Yeah.
So
the first company to try to make Spider-Man.
Didn't Quick Draw come out around that time as well?
Oh my god.
Because I remember like it was like a series of like female lead movies. It was Cutthroat Island, Quick Draw.
Oh my god.
I know we went off topic, but that was just an example of me giving something a chance. And I enjoyed it. A lot of people shit on it, but pretty much to everyone who hates it, and I'm telling everyone who's watching this live stream, fuck you, the movie is good.
And that's fine. But the main difference, Steve, is that like when I said, fuck that movie, I gave reasons for why I said fuck that movie, but I don't dislike it. I'm just saying like, oh, that movie.
No, man. But I'm still confused why people shit on the movie. It was entertaining.
Well, look at it this way. I'm confused as to why you shit on Aquaman.
Reason. What?
I second that.
You don't need a reason. You creep on Reddit all the time.
I don't creep on
Apropos
Reddit.
of nothing.
I am loud and proud on Reddit. I like.
Yeah, his name on Reddit is Leo's here, y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see any movie called Quick Draw, but maybe I'm not looking in the right place.
It was Sharon Stone.
Gotcha.
It was a cowboy
That's the
movie.
Quick and the Dead guy.
Oh, the Quick and the Dead,
Quick and the
directed by
Dead.
Sam
Okay.
Raimi.
That's probably why I can't find it.
Really?
I found Casper though.
How in the hell do you guys compare Quick Draw to Quick and the Dead? Are you guys fucking serious?
It's my
the word
brain,
quick.
you
That's
know.
all it
Yes,
was.
exactly.
The word
And last time I saw it was on VHS.
The
so-
Quick and the Dead Draw.
There you go.
Oh my God! I just
Growing
looked up
Pains and
movies from
Pre-Titanic Leonardo DiCaprio.
I just looked up movies from '95. I actually worked at the theater when Cutthroat Island was in theaters. But the movie I watched the most in '95 in the theater was Casper with Christina Ricci.
Oh,
Okay.
the third Ghostbusters movie. That's cool.
And
It is.
tie-in-
Fucking
tie-in
Ray
to the
shows up in it,
Ghostbusters.
so it counts as a Ghostbusters movie to fucking my ass.
No, that's true.
Who are you gonna call?
Who
Somebody
are you gonna
else.
call? Someone else.
And the night
Father
you got the job
Guido
at the theater,
Sarducci.
we went and saw Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yep.
Remember that, Randy?
What?
The
Oh,
night
yeah,
that you
yeah.
officially got the
John
job
and
at
I
the
went
theater.
to a movie to see one movie. I think we actually were going to. Were we going to see Die Hard, or were we going to see the submarine one?
We saw Crimson Tide on that Thursday night, and then you went into your comedy bit for the owner of the theater, and
Walked away with a job.
It was Heather and Nick for the brother and sister who were there, and they told you to come back the next night because you were looking for a job. They were hiring, so we came and watched Die Hard with a Vengeance, and you got the job at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Holy shit, 95. Okay.
Yeah.
So 95, we had Batman Forever, Apollo 13, Casper, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Waterworld.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Waterworld. Braveheart,
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
I really liked Braveheart.
95 was a good year.
First
Ralph
Night,
Roy.
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
Desperado. Holy shit.
I'm so happy they made the other one. The other one's freaking amazing.
I saw that fucking movie for the first and only time. I mean, it's a good movie. I've only seen it once though. Once was enough. Like, it's an intense flick. But I saw it in fucking 3D. I saw it in 3D. And I did not do well when they fucking threw that dude over the side of the building while he was on that fucking drug. It fucking jacked me up. Like, my anxiety went through the roof.
You mean
'Cause,
do
like,
that? It was
I rocked back and forth next to my brother. I was like, I didn't need this. I don't need this. I didn't need to know what that was like. Like, to slow motion fall to your death from like 500 stories in the air. That is just fucking horrible. I just, even right now, like I'm getting fucking goosebumps thinking
better
about
than
it.
him saying court's adjourned and throwing him off a fake Statue of Liberty.
Court's adjourned.
Everybody here.
Hey, welcome to our new movie, eh? It was filmed in 3B, 3 beers, and looks good, eh? Hey, take off, you hoser.
We could start a rush thread for that.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up, guys.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. It's over 3 hours.
Are you
Everybody
serious?
here.
We just
Yeah.
getting started.
Oh my
right.
gosh. Everybody
So
here.
can we do the rush portion next week?
Has everybody here seen Desperado?
Desperado.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I've heard the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, the El Mariachi trilogy.
El Mariachi
Holy
trilogy.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I actually saw El
Rodriguez,
Mariachi first at the suggestion of my world history teacher, Miss
Really?
Boynton. Yeah, she was like, because I had, I was saying something, and she was like, "Oh, have you ever heard of Desperado?" And I was like, "I've heard of it." And she was like, "You haven't seen it though?" I was like, "No." She said, "Go watch El Mariachi first. It's a Mexican. It's in Spanish. It's a straight up Mexican movie, but it's actually the first part. It's the same character, just played by a different guy than Antonio Banderas at first. But watch that, then watch Desperado, and I was like, oh, okay. So I did, and I got like the full experience. And my friends though had all seen Desperado, and they had no fucking idea that El Mariachi was the first part to it. So you know, it was really cool for me to be able to just watch Bing Bang, and then when Once Upon a Time in Mexico came out, forget about it. That movie was great. I love that flick.
So you mentioned real quick, you mentioned Apollo 13. When I worked at the theater, that was the first night I was ever left on my own, and one of the films jumped one of the rollers, and it wound up and broke and started melting on the screen. The lady comes out and goes, yeah, the movie seems to be melting on the screen. And at that point, I like panicked because I had never been left alone. So Apollo 13 melting on the screen, not something you want to hear.
It's not the first time Apollo 13's had problems, huh?
Yeah.
Now that's the perfect time. You could have used, Houston, we have a problem.
More
So
like
I had to
Mom,
give
you
out
have a
like
problem.
2 refunds because there were only 2 people in the theater.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. For me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Yada yada yada. The Dorkening, 40 shows on a network, ton of awesome stuff. We will kick it off with John. Where do you like people interacting with you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me over at Where Our Past Comes Alive, the group that Randy created. Right now, he and I are doing a year-long series called 77 Turns 45. We're taking key moments from 1977 in pop culture, and we're putting them up there. So if you're interested, go over and check it out.
Nice.
Awesome.
Steven.
I'm sorry for being late. I was working, but I'm usually here every Wednesday on the Dorkening. I will be back next week. You can find my podcast, Super Rich with Rebecca Reviews the Audio Files and CSI the Vegas Files, both on the Dorkening Podcast Network. And yeah, like I said, I'm here every Wednesday. And check out our Patreon.
RW.
Hey, you can follow. Well, you can find me there. I got it. There it is. At the bottom of the page, all the links to Facebook, Twitter, Cameo, Tenor, wherever, all that stuff, Instagram. And like John says, yeah, we have a little page that we started, oh my God, 5 years ago, more or less, called Where Our Past Comes Alive. And yeah, come check it out. And go to Amazon.com, buy my book, Life Inside My Head. I need gas money. And thanks for being here.
Yo.
You can find me passed out on my couch in like 10 minutes.
Shit, dude.
I gotta be to work soon.
Oh man.
Jeez.
But no, you can find me at Yo Saint Laurent on Instagram. That's where I'm spending most of my time if I'm doing anything. I'm on Twitter too, but I don't use Twitter. I don't have the time to.
Brandon.
Hi everybody. You can check me out on Instagram at this Brandon Has Powers, and on Twitter at Brandon's Powers. If you want to come over to Facebook and check out the Powers Combined group, it's just a group of geeks that share info and memes and laughs and have a good time. Our number one rule is don't be a jerk. If you come in and start trying to throw around like gatekeeping type activities, then you will be booted. And we will not look back. Other than that, you can find me here every Wednesday on the Wednesday night Dorkening podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And pretty soon we'll be releasing a couple of new podcasts with myself, Leo Pond, and our good buddy Justin the Coop Cooper. One is the Dork Night. It's bi-weekly, and it's going to be covering all things Batman. And the other is Comics Paradox, which is also bi-weekly. We're being switching off between each show week to week, where we talk about alternate reality tales like what ifs and Elseworlds, imaginary tales, and like story arcs and such like Age of Apocalypse or Amalgam Comics. But it's a lot of fun, and if you're interested, please stop by and check all that stuff out.
And coming soon, I guarantee. Otherwise, I give Brandon permission to hit me with a shovel.
Yeah, right. We put a lot of work in for a while now. So.
Hey, Brandon, when you do the what if you do it with what if Wolverine killed the Hulk, or what if Conan ended up in the 20th century, let me know. I'll stop by.
Okay.
This
'Cause
is
I do like
Luke
I do like
Yeah,
the
we'll-
original run of What If.
We'll get there.
That-
What we do is we jump around. We don't stick on like straight
Oh, no.
what ifs all the way through. So
Right.
yeah, I have a checklist, and each time we talk about something, I put the line right through. It's like a geek's hit list.
Sounds
I
good.
killed that one this week. Take that. What if Wolverine was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
And just as a side note with DC Comics, I really would like to see them do a Kamandi, the last one on Earth.
yeah.
Because I did enjoy it when Kamandi made the appearance. Was it Batman the Brave and the Bold?
Yes.
Was that the anime? When they did that animated segment, I enjoyed that. I thought that was really, really good. And I think an animated Kamandi series would do. I would
No,
enjoy
a live action Kamandi series would be pretty cool, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.